Board of Trustees, Pajaro Valley Unified School District, to order at 5:31. We will be adjourning to closed session and we'll return back here at 6 unless there is any public comment on closed session items. I do not see any hands, so we are...
Real quick, one point of clarification. We're not allowing anybody to put up posters, right? Or anything. Can we just clarify that now?
Thank you for bringing that up. And I wish I had reached out to Bill Beecher ahead of time and given it advice. So we've been wrestling with what to do about people who have signs and things to project and posters. And we, as in the superintendent and legal and I, and what we've come down to is nothing on the walls. And I know I have issues with this too, but the easels are okay, but we got to make sure there's some place so people aren't going to get hurt, and we're not projecting anything that anybody provides, only things that the district has provided.
Point of order.
I acknowledge your point of order. I know it's confusing.
Yes. I think this is a point to be talked about at a later, and it's a one-way conversation.
You are absolutely right. Thank you for that. So we're not going to have the discussion, but that's where we're landing is the easels are okay. They got to be out of the way. I don't know that I'm going to dictate where they ought to be, but nothing that's projected and nothing that's hanging on the walls. Okay, so we are adjourning. Good evening. Welcome. I would like to call this meeting of the Board of Trustees to order. Welcome and thank you for being here tonight. I want to begin by acknowledging that this meeting will be live streamed and recorded. Whether you are here in person or watching online, we are glad that you are here with us. Bienvenidos. Tenemos interpretación en español. Si necesita de este servicio, por favor pase con Leticia Centenario ahí. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Board of Trustees of the Pajaro Valley Unified School District. Official business on behalf of our district and the students we serve. While we deeply value community participation, this is a working session of the board. Our focus tonight is on the items before us and on the outcomes that matter most to our students. We have a workshop scheduled at the end of the regular part of the meeting. We'll have a brief period of time where we reset the room. We really want to finish tonight by 10:30 because everybody who works for the district who's in this room needs to be someplace by about 7:30 tomorrow morning, and we want to make sure that you are alert and ready to get our schools ready for business. So they're opening. Okay. One of our core values is ensuring that the voices of our community and of each board member are heard, respected, and given meaningful space in this room. Everything we do tonight is grounded in that commitment. Our protocols are not barriers, they are what am I hearing? They are structures that ensure every voice has a fair and appropriate opportunity to be heard. Each item on the agenda will be called. Staff or a board member will present the item. Then it's time for public comments. We will call names in groups of 10. When you hear your name, please make your way to the podium. Time limits will apply and may be limited per speaker and total time for the item. Board members will each have up to 3 minutes to respond or ask questions. Board members have been asked to submit questions in advance so that answers can be prepared and shared as part of the presentations. Speaking on non-agenda items, on 6.1, if somebody has something they want to bring to the board that is school district business but is not on the agenda, that is the appropriate time to do that. We also have a relatively new item called 6.2, which is speaking on an agenda item. So if there's an item on the agenda that you wish to speak to, but you don't want to wait until it comes up on the agenda, you can speak during that time, but you can't speak during that time and when it comes up on the regular agenda. 6.2, isn't it 6.2? Thank you. 3.1 and 3.2, okay. How to is it? If you wish to speak, you need to fill out a card, and that card needs to be turned in prior to the item starting. Cards can be turned in to Ms. Moran at the end of the table. You need to put a name. You don't have to put your name, but when we call you, it has to be something so you know it's your turn. We do encourage students to fill out the peach-colored cards, which we give priority to. Please stay on topic and complete your comments within the time allowed. You may state your name at the beginning of your statement for the record. We ask that speakers who share the same point of view designate a spokesperson so that not each person needs to come up. It's not a requirement, it's a request. You can, let's see, with the board consent. With board consent, we may reduce the amount of time per speaker. In order for the board to conduct its business, we ask that all attendees refrain from shouting out or holding side conversations during the meeting. We generally want to hear from each of you, and we could not hear the person who's at the podium when others are speaking at the same time. During some recent meetings, folks who did not agree with the speaker made comments. We all need to allow speakers their opportunity, whether we agree with them or not. The board's focus is on student outcomes. We know that is important to you as well, and we appreciate your presence and your passion. I ask that we each set examples for our students and share ideas and opinions and refrain from name-calling and bullying. If there are disruptions, I will issue a warning. If disruptions continue, I may recess the meeting and ask those who are causing the disruption to be removed from the room. Thank you for listening to all of that long-winded stuff, and let's get to work for students. Yes? Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, because I'm looking at this, which is...
So on the
on the printout in the back of the room, it's not the same as what's posted.
Yeah, so I think we'll just go with what's online at it's public comment 6.1 to correct the correction earlier.
Yeah, what's online has it right. Okay, so we're going with what's online because that's what was posted. So the numbering is going to be a little bit off from what you have. So when you turn in a card, if you make sure you write the item title, that will help us a lot. Okay. It's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Navarro, would you lead us, please? Do we have a flag? Yes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We did that, we did that. That leads us to governing board comments, reports on standing committees. Trustee Medina, do you have some comments you'd like to share?
Yeah, let me pull this up. So, good evening, everybody, and welcome back. I know some people are still fluttering in from summer vacation. It's really good to see the post online of, the professional development and all that good stuff. So, I want to welcome back to a new school year for our students, our families, our teachers, and our classified staff. And I do also want to mention some things that hit my inbox. So an educator with 18 years of service in the district wrote to this board asking simply to be released to start the year strong, supporting students. Our Teachers Federation has formally demanded action on leadership at Pajaro Middle School, a school in my area, and I take their no confidence letter extremely seriously. A teacher wrote asking us to invest in bilingual authorization so educators can serve our students in their home language instead of losing their positions over credentials they are actively completing. A teacher at Aptos High described watching classroom belongings hauled away with portables this summer with no plan for their return. A parent and licensed clinician has asked for over a year about a safe walking route to Pajaro Valley High School, and I think we've all wanted that. And I'm glad the city is starting to make some progress with that. A community member asked why a facilities inspection contract was renewed and got silence from most of this dais, question that I also had. And many families wrote about renaming Cesar Chavez Middle School, including heartfelt letters from our Asian American Pacific Islander community, honoring the legacies of Jeff Tagami and Masashimoto. So our community keeps asking whether the district's spending is matching its stated priorities. And if you look at tonight's consent agenda, carries hundreds of thousands of dollars in outside consultant contracts, some with no cost listed, no scope attached, or payment schedule untethered from delivery. While we start this fiscal year without a chief business officer and while our labor partners are still in negotiation. So that is why I have submitted a proposal for a resolution to enact a hiring freeze so this board can pause, look at where our dollars are actually going, and put students, classrooms, and the workers who serve them first. I asked my colleagues to bring that resolution forward for public discussion, and if you're interested, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. Trustee Navarro?
Thank you, President Shirley. I just wanted to say welcome back. Can't believe the summer flew by so long. Today was Mariners Day at Aptos High School, and so my soon-to-be senior went to go pick up his schedule, and this is going to be a tough first for me, having a senior that's going off after this year. But I want to welcome all of the students and families and staff and teachers back for a new school year, to the teachers and staff that have been preparing their classrooms, participating in professional development, and giving up part of their summer to get skills for our students. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad we were able to figure out a way to pay you for that extra time. This year brings some real changes for our district. We still are facing a structural deficit. I'm hopeful that most of the pain has passed and that there won't be any layoffs or significant layoffs again going forward. I'm excited to see how our cell phone policy plays out. I still have some concerns about its implementation and how it's actually going to be working in the classroom. So it's something that I'm staying on top of. And if there's any issues, I would appreciate if people would reach out to me. I also am looking forward to seeing the homework policy initiated and having more time for our kids to spend with their families on their extracurricular activities, sports, music, and art. Thank you.
Thank you. And Trustee Flynn?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you, cabinet members, for being here tonight. It's good to see you. I am sorry that I missed last meeting. It's come into question if I plan to attend meetings. Yes, I do. The question for me is, though, where is Trustee Dodge? And nobody seems to be after him about that. And we had some very important decisions that we needed to make tonight. We were almost unable to make them because he wasn't here and he doesn't show up to closed session. And I say that because I'm on my way out in November, and he is up for re-election. So if you want somebody who's here for students, I need a team member to help make decisions. And I've said nothing till this point. And the only reason why I am now is because it's frustrating when community is asking where I am, but they're not asking where he is. So it seems a little unbalanced. So that's all I have to say this time around. But it is really good to see you all. It's always anxiety-ridden coming here, but once I get in the seat and I see your faces, it helps me remember why I'm here and who I'm here for. And I'm excited for some of the content tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll defer my comments, and that leads us to superintendent comments. Dr. Heather Contreras.
Sylvester, I think that's the wrong one. There we go. Okay, we could go to the next slide. Wanted to share some exciting data. We have some preliminary data. This is preliminary. Usually it is pretty on target. This is our CASP data. This is the California dashboard data that is our accountability measure for the state of California. What we have on here is what I call our leaderboard. These are schools that had outstanding results, and we have the results for our main measurements, which are English language arts and mathematics. So as you could see, for our high schools, we have Aptos High School that had double-digit growth. And so on this particular assessment, when we see double-digit growth, that is significant growth on this assessment. So Aptos High did significant growth with 11.6% growth in ELA. Pajaro Valley High School also had significant growth at 11%. We're really proud of that result, particularly because when I came here in May of 2024, one of the things we heard at all of the board meetings for several months was that Pajaro Valley High School felt that they really didn't have all of the things that other high schools had. And so we have put a significant investment into Pajaro Valley High School, ensuring that they had classes that were similar to both Watsonville High School and Aptos High School. We started an early college there, which is the opportunity for students to earn their high school degree, their high school diploma, and an AA degree simultaneously while attending the school on campus. We're in our second year of doing that. We started more AP classes there. We built the black box theater so they didn't have to be performing in the wrestling room. So we've done a lot of different strategies, and we're looking at how that is paying off. So we're excited to see that. Cesar Chavez Middle School, 5% growth in ELA. That 5% growth is also significant. Usually we see the state of California growing by about 2%, 2.5%. So when we supersede what the state of California is doing, that is also significant. So Cesar Chavez, 5.4% growth, Lakeview Middle School, 5%. And then we have our elementary schools with Starlight, Hyde, Calabasas, and McQuitty having significant growth as well in ELA. For mathematics, overall in the district, we had 0.9%. Not great, but it's still growth. And our high schools, again, Pajaro Valley High School with 5% growth and Aptos High School with 4.5% growth. So still outperforming historically what the state of California has done. Cesar Chavez Middle School, 5.7% growth, and Lakeview Middle School, 5.3% growth. I want to draw your attention to the fact that those four schools had growth not just in ELA, but also in math. So when we see that happening in more than one area, What it demonstrates is there is a significant push on instructional practices that are changing in the classroom and that are helping students to meet student achievement goals. We're really impressed with what teachers are doing there and what leadership is doing over there. So nice work to our teachers. In our elementary schools, we again see Hyde with 5.7% growth, Freedom Elementary, Starlight, Calabasas, and McQuitty all with math growth. The thing that we make notice of is all of these schools that have shown growth, we have made strategic efforts at each of these schools. This growth didn't happen by accident. The growth happened because we invested in these schools in ways to get those results. And so when we know what we did to get the results, we can keep doing more of the same and continue on that cycle of improvement. Additionally, we know how we can replicate those same actions so that we can see that happen at our other schools. So we're really excited by this. We really want to celebrate our teachers who did this work. We want to celebrate our students who also focused and engaged in the work. We had some really interesting comments by students, especially in the area of math. With our new implementation of the SWAN mathematics program, our students came back from winter break this year saying, "Oh, I'm so glad to be back. I miss doing math." We don't usually hear that from students, so we were really excited about that. So we will have a bigger data report in October when the scores come out officially on the CASP data, but until then, we're really using this to highlight coming back into the new year, looking for more success for our students, and we're excited about that. Additionally, this week, I met with PVFT leadership to see how we could collaborate more positively. And I was disheartened when PVFT informed me that they believe in an adversarial and antagonistic relationship. However, I'm hopeful that in the future we could find ways to form a stronger relationship for the sake of students, possibly through continued strategies like our Labor Management Institute.
That brings us to 4.1, approval of agenda. Are there any public comments on approval of agenda? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? Thanks.
I make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. That looks like 4003. Action report on closed session. I think you have a readout for us, Trustee Flynn.
An announcement of new hires. Lisa Sandoval, Human Resources Director of Classified. Are you here? Okay. Okay, I'll skip to two. I'll skip to two. Did she leave? Or, okay, I'll skip to two. Announcement 2, Chris Thomas, are you here? Okay, I will read on. Assistant Principal, Aptos High. PVUSD is excited to welcome Chris Thomas to Aptos High as an assistant principal. Chris is an educational leader with more than a decade of experience spanning teaching, special education, instructional leadership, and school administration. He most recently served as assistant principal at John J. Montgomery Elementary School, where he oversaw school operations, campus safety, staff evaluations, state testing, and student support systems, while fostering a culture of accountability and continuous improvement. Throughout his career, he has held leadership roles as a summer school principal, PBIS coordinator, department chair, and instructional leadership team member, with extensive experience supporting inclusive practices, special education compliance, professional learning, and data-driven instruction. He holds a master's degree in education from California State University, Monterey Bay, and an administrative services credential through the Santa Clara County Office of Education's LEAP program, and teaching credentials in special education and English, reflecting a strong commitment to student achievement, collaborative leadership, and equitable educational opportunities. We are excited to have his well-rounded educator join the leadership team at Aptos High. Go Mariners. And then Monica Vasquez, I don't think she's here, Site Coordinator, Child Development. We are pleased to announce the promotion of Monica Vasquez to the Site Coordination position. Monica brings 19 years of experience in early childhood education, including 9 years with Head Start, and the past 8 years serving PVUSD as both a teacher and site supervisor. After arriving in the United States in 2001, Monica earned her GED and went on to pursue her passion for education at Cabrillo College, where she graduated in 2014 with an Associates of Art in Early Childhood Education degree. Her educational journey began as a volunteer in her children's kindergarten classroom at PVUSD, where she discovered her passion for supporting young learners and their families. As a parent, all of Monica's children attended PVUSD schools, and she cherishes the opportunity she had to volunteer, participate in field trips, and actively be involved in their educational experiences. Throughout her career, Monica has demonstrated a strong commitment to fostering positive learning environments and building meaningful relationships with children, families, and staff. Her dedication, leadership, and firsthand understanding of the importance of family engagement have made her a valued member of our team. Please join us in congratulating Monica on her well-deserved position and wishing her continued success in her new site coordination role. Congratulations. Claudia Gabby Solano, Program Coordinator, Child Development. We are excited to announce the promotion of Claudia Gabby Solano to a Program Coordinator position. Gabby brings more than 30 years of experience in early childhood education and leadership, having served with the YWCA, YMCA, Cabrillo College, Children's Center, Head Start, and for the past 9 years with PVUSD. She joined PVUSD as a site coordinator at Buena Vista's Children's Center, where she served as the liaison between PVUSD and Migrant Head Start, and most recently has led the team at Watsonville Children's Center and site coordinator. As site coordinator, a proud product of PVUSD, Claudia attended Calabasas Elementary, EA Hall Middle School, and Watsonville High School, and her daughter also graduated from PVUSD schools as the valedictorian of Pacific Coast Charter. Nice. Gabby earned both of her Associate of Arts and Liberal Arts and Associates of Science in Early Childhood Education from Cabrillo College before completing her Bachelor's of Arts in Sociology with a concentration in Family Studies at San Jose State University. Go Spartans. Throughout her career, she has built strong community partnerships and developed meaningful relationships with children and families throughout Watsonville. Her deep commitment to supporting families and promoting children's school readiness has made a lasting impact on our program. Please join us in congratulating Gabby on her well-deserved promotion and wishing her continued success in her new program coordination role. Congratulations, Gabby. Lisa, hi. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. PVUSD is excited to have you, Lisa Sandoval, join the HR team as the new Director of Classified. Lisa brings more than 2 decades of progressively responsible experience with Pajaro Valley Unified School District, including service as a teacher, child development teacher, and coordinator. And since 2021, Director of Early Childhood Education, Child Development. Throughout her career, she has led instructional programs, supervised and evaluated staff, managed budgets, ensured compliance with state and federal regulations, supported student enrollment growth, and partnered with families, community organizations, and government agencies to strengthen educational services. She holds a Master's of Arts in Educational Leadership from San Jose State University, go Spartans, and Administrative Services credential and a multiple subject teaching credential, and has extensive experience with district systems including Synergy, Escape, Centrac, is it Hube, and Google, providing a strong foundation in educational leadership, personnel management, and operational oversight. We are excited to have this experienced educator join the leadership team in HR. That's all, folks.
All right, thank you, Trustee Flynn. That moves us on to 6.1, public comment on non-agenda items. How many cards do we have? All right, would you like to call them up?
Is it Bill Delmar? Delmar Bill, okay. Okay. Carolyn West, Kelly Crenshaw, Chris Webb, Jennifer Goodhart, and Brandon Denise.
Tonight I want to speak about the impasse that we're having with negotiations. And it really comes down that the union does not want to admit that their total compensation, I have a chart over here, our teachers are being compensated at about the average of the engineers in California because benefits are much bigger for our teachers than it is for the engineers. And so in 3 years, because of the benefit growth, our compensation for our teachers will match the highest paid engineers in the state. The engineers work 248 days a year. Our teachers work 180. So.
Excuse me. Thank you.
So, if you wanted to look at how to improve the bargaining, you would set the compensation at some percentage of our revenue. That caps it off, then the district knows how to plan. Benefits should be a lower percentage of that. Right now, in 3 years, benefits will be 91% of wages. That's huge. Now, if you set benefits less, then you're going to squeeze wages. And I would let teachers choose between higher benefits or higher wages and do that trade-off. That's not allowed. Copay, $10 or $20. There are studies that show that that will reduce the amount of visits to the doctor's office by a third. That lowers the premiums for us. That lowers our benefit cost. Health savings accounts for our new teachers coming in. This is what's recommended by people in the industry. We should be looking at that. Working spouses of our personnel, they should use their employer's plan augmented by PVUSD. Right now, PVUSD pays for the spouses of our employees' full plan. That significantly would lower premiums if we were to.
Thank you, that's your time.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Carolyn again. Hello, trustees, Dr. Contreras, everyone over there. I wasn't prepared for this. I usually prepare a little bit better, but I've already hit the ground running starting the school year, and we're already only 3 days in. I am missing a health assistant for 2 of my schools already. She's not starting till next week. So I have to do everything by myself in preparation to get ready for the school year to start. The kids just showing up is not the only part of health services, because when I mentioned this, they're like, oh, well, the kids start on the 12th. That's great. Well, no, not really. There's immunizations and healthcare plans and supplies and all that, so I'm doing that on my own. I have another concern that there's no planned backup now that we have the health assistants sharing schools as far as who is going to provide first aid, who is going to provide medication and treatments and things like that. We've asked around at our different schools, and everybody's kind of backing up. The office managers, a lot of people, I'm too busy, I can't do it, I don't. So we need to know who it is that we're supposed to be training, because we can't be everywhere. And now our health assistants are at 2 different places. So we're really frustrated about that. I have not met my new supervisor. I don't know that any of the SELPA staff have. Traditionally, we meet before school starts so that we can do introductions, talk about any type of district changes, any type of state ed code changes, any nursing concerns, anything like that. We haven't had that. We have not met. Our meeting is scheduled for September 11th, and that's like so far away. Also, the health assistants, we've been talking about having trainings for the IAs and the BTs, but there's been no discussion of the health assistants, and that's usually done before school starts also. So a lot of concerns. I've sent out a lot of emails. I'm not getting a lot of responses, but I wanted to make sure that people were aware that we're kind of floundering in health services.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, board and superintendent. I hate to use any of my 2 precious moments but I have to address this ridiculous propaganda. No, we do not make more than engineers. Teachers make 23 to 27 less than other college-educated professionals with similar levels. I have a source, the Economic Policy Institute. Even factoring in benefits, the compensation gap remains, including unpaid hours. I've already worked 3 full days to set up a classroom because there are no MOU days. I don't know what kind of classroom you think can be set up in 7.5 hours when I walk in and every bit of my classroom is packed in a corner. 7.5 hours is what is being paid for teachers to prepare for a school year. So my unpaid hours are not included, even with benefits, which is what I'm here to talk about. I'm a proud starting 31-year PVUSD teacher. I'm also a proud Modesto native and Modesto City School graduate, Grace Davis High School. And so much comparison has been made between Watsonville and Modesto, and the growth, reading growth of Modesto is featured by our district as a reason to add more district admin from Modesto while simultaneously decimating our site supports. Therefore, I feel really compelled to come here and speak on what's been left out of the picture. And that's the difference of and I'm coming like, not hostile, not adversarial, please try to understand that what's been left out is the difference in pay and cost of living between Modesto and our district. In Modesto, I would be paid for 72-hour units beyond my degree. I would be making $30,000 more in a place that costs 1/3 less. You come from Modesto, you may not understand the dire straits we are in here financially. In Modesto, my friends have home. Oh, really?
Thank you.
Well, we don't want to strike, but we have to. We can't, it'll break us.
I need to insist on quiet in the room. If you agree with the
2
speaker,
minutes goes fast.
you can do that
having
or
to
raise a
address
hand.
propaganda. Thank you.
We will recess. We will ask people to leave the room, or we'll clear the room if that's what we need to do. But I can't hear what the speaker says.
Hi, I'm Ms. Goodhart. I teach at Bradley. I'm starting my 23rd year. I love my job. I wanted to ask you, board members and Dr. Contreras, if you could look into these things for me. I read the story in the Lookout today about Prop 28, And at Bradley, we're experiencing that we have a position that's been approved, but it's being held up for some reason. It won't be allowed to be flown. We had plans to build a theater space and hire a theater teacher, and the portable we planned to do that in was removed. We have less arts instruction this coming year than we've had, so I'm not understanding what's happening and why we're not able to spend our Prop 28 money. The other thing I want to talk about is so if you could look into that and provide some clarity, that would be great. The other thing is we cut all these student-facing positions. I wrote to you, Dr. Contreras, about it last year. You assured me there was a plan. I said, I know there are other sites in the county that don't have ACs, but they have other supports. And you assured me there was a plan, but I've seen no sign of a plan. I just see high-level administrators being hired. And I'm sorry, I never public speak except in front of 5-year-olds. And I'm fine with 5-year-olds. So there's no sign of a plan, and I'm really worried about campus safety. We're out there on Corralitos Road, and we have a lot of elopers, historically, kids who run away. And last year we had students who got out on Corralitos Road. I mean, that's scary. And I'm really worried about safety. So if you could provide some transparency about what the plan is for providing student-facing support in light of all the positions we've lost. Thank you.
Good evening. Last semester, Dr. Navarro, you had mentioned reflecting on the Health and Welfare Benefits Committee, you'd like that to be more open so people could see. And I just want to say I agree with you. And I think if the public knew about like the negotiations, I think that this board and the administration would feel the shame that they should feel with us in the position we are starting the school year like this. I don't want to be thinking about these. I want to be thinking about setting up my class. Instead, I'm thinking about how am I going to do work to rule? And I'm thinking about too, partly because I had a student who I didn't even have last year, but he still was at Watsonville High and saw me around and all that. And he emailed me in this summer and was like thanking me for different clubs and stuff. And I was reflecting on the last day of school where I didn't really plan anything special, but like one kid in particular stood out to me because he was a kid who he was going to fail like first semester. He finally pulled it together, and then he wound up being like one of my best students. But like I remember when I was observed, the principal or the AP was surprised at his performance and was like pleased and everything. But on the last day, that student said, oh, you know, Webb, you make kids want to come to school. I feel like that's important because I think of how callously and quickly we cast people away, and then we're adding at the top, and it just strikes me as like just so backwards. I feel like, welcome back, Cabinet, by the way. I thought that was interesting this summer that we had like kind of a personification of it, right? You had like the teachers still showing up every time. And then these people who make way more and get these, they're largely outsiders, they're getting cushy contracts and all that. It's just really, if there was any doubt in the community of like who's out to serve the students and who's out to serve this district office, I feel like this administration has made that very plain. Also, I'm down to collaborate. I've been down. I wish you would have made the meeting for the grievance. I think it's improper to not have to. I would do CalMe. Why do we need to pay outside organizations to collaborate?
Thank you.
All right, so this one's going to be fun, as I just took some notes. So I want to start off by standing behind what I told Dr. Contreras, that I absolutely believe that unions are here to be structurally antagonistic and be militant, member-organizing, member-driven organizations that hold their employer accountable. And it's unfortunate that you give me so many reasons to hold you accountable because you're not good at your job. Just this week, we have people who were issued a layoff notice early out of respect for them, was what we were told, who then had that layoff notice rescinded, is way back in May, told, hey, you're still going to have a job. Guess what? they don't have health insurance right now because the district messed up. So now when they go to the doctor, they don't have health insurance, and that's coming out of their pocket, which yes, you guys will end up reimbursing because we're militant, antagonistic, and holding you accountable. That's what we do. So I also want to address the misinformation that you guys are allowing a member of the community to put at the front of the room, which makes it appear to be district sanctioned. Would you let me bring a poster to the front of the room that says, Dr. Contreras, consultants, not collaboration? That's true to me, so I should be able to put that there, right? If you let Bill put it there, you better let me put it there. So clean that up, please.
Please.
Also, Bill doesn't know where his numbers come from. We work 184 days, not 180. Ain't nobody making 130,000 when our starting salary is 58,520. We are not civil engineers. We do more important work than civil engineers. Civil engineers don't stay up on weekends grading papers. Civil engineers don't write IEPs. You're not going to ask them to leave the room for clapping. That is bogus. Do I get my time back because you were interrupting me? No, just let them clap. Sorry, Jesus. Civil engineers don't stay up grading papers. They don't make phone calls. They don't contact families. They don't shape the future. That's what we do. We shape the future and pay us like it.
Trustee Charlie.
Trustee Medina.
Is it true that some teachers do not have health insurance currently? Can the superintendent answer that?
That's not on the agenda right now.
It's a point of clarification.
It's not on the agenda.
It's a point of clarification. It's a point. It is a point of clarification. I understand that you have certain rules that you follow, but according to the Brown Act and according to the rules that you approved, we can make those comments. So I would like a quick response. Yep.
It's not back and forth.
It's not. That's why I'm asking for a clarification.
Okay.
Trustee Tiller, you're like
Quickly.
half a year into this. Come on.
Quickly.
I asked my question
We have
already.
a big agenda, quickly.
Kit, can you talk to that?
Is it true that some teachers...
Kit
Yes,
is going to
I'm happy
respond. Here's the
respond.
question.
Yes, I'm happy to respond. In total, we have rescinded, I think, north of 24 layoffs prior to June 30th on the certificated side of the house. We also have rescinded, at this point, about a dozen classified positions from layoffs, not all of them prior to the June 30th date. Of the reference that Mr. Denise made, we were aware of 2 errors that occurred. 4 employees where, yes, there was a mistake in processing, and those employees should have been onboarded correctly without interruption to their service. I personally have reached out to them and had conversations with them. We've assured them that everything will be reinstated. Yes, Mr. Denise is correct. We will reimburse them for any out-of-pocket expenses, and to clear the record, we're aware of those 2.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's the end of 6.1. We're moving on to 6.2, public comment on agenda items for those who want to speak now rather than when the item comes up. How many cards do we have? Okay, we have 5 cards, so that'll be 2 minutes per speaker.
Delmar Bill? Okay. Elaine Parker? Elaine Legretta? Chris Webb? And Mr. Hubbard. If you could please state which agenda item you are referring to when you announce yourself.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Dr. Contreras and President Turley, board members, and audience. I'm Elaine Parker. I'm the somewhat new athletic director at Watsonville High School, and loving my job, which is totally awesome. Normally, we're advocating for students, but today I'm here to speak about our longtime fabulous coach, Roland Hedgepeth, who has over 55 years coaching. It's amazing to think about that. That is so long. And when we think of him, when we hear his name, the GOAT has to come to mind. Even though we're cats at Watsonville, he definitely is the GOAT. And He's much to be admired. He's a consummate professional. He's dedicated. He's kind. He's knowledgeable. And he is still coaching soccer in our community. And many of you have known him in the capacity longer than I have. He was my son's coach on the football team as the holder, so he's not just in the soccer world. I also knew him when I was principal because we collaborated on a fundraiser, and he was the poinsettia guy because he works tirelessly to get his teams to travel and play and compete in new stadiums and against students of different walks and cultures and in different countries even. He is super community-oriented and family-oriented and humble, and we are backing the motion to name Geyser Field at Hedgepath Stadium in honor of our coach, who most recently led our team to the NorCal Championship and state runner-up. And so, again, I am new to this sporting world, but a longtime fan, and I represent our students and staff in wanting to give this honor to our coach. Thank you.
Good evening, Board President Turley, board members, and Dr. Contreras. I'm Elaine Legaretta. This is 211.1. I'm also the Watsonville High School Booster Club president and an alum of Watsonville High. Our organization is proud to propose dedicating our newly reconstructed stadium to an extraordinary coach and teacher, Roland Hedgepath. To honor the history of Watsonville High, we proposed Geyser Field at Hedgepath Stadium. Whenever I'm on Geyser Field, I observe athletes kissing their fingers and touching the monument to Coach Geyser. He's not been forgotten, nor those teams of legend. I'm also a student of history. History does not stay stagnant. It grows as time grows. Dedicating the stadium and field to honor two exemplary coaches is appropriate. Geyser's legacy remains a vital part of Wildcat spirit, but history grows. Dedicating the stadium to Coach Hedgepath alongside the field dedicated to Geyser 70 years ago beautifully honors two exemplary leaders. Coach Geyser's legacy will not be diminished. It will be joined by another legend. Coach Hedgepath accepted this proposed honor on the condition that Coach Geyser's name remain and the Pajaro Valley community be recognized for its critical role in the program's success. For 56 years, Coach Hedgepath has led with rare skill. As a former Watsonville High School principal, I observed closely his commitment to building teams that grow and work together. Coach Hedgepath has managed the program with minimal conflict, high character expectations, and the utmost respect from teachers, players, coaches, and families. That is quite exceptional in athletics, and even more so for elite teams. 722 overall wins, 126 losses, 116 ties. The math puts it pretty close to 1,000 games, and I could be missing some. You'll hear the presentation late this evening proposing the dedication. Pay attention to the details. They make the case easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay, Mr. Hubbard.
Is that Mr. Hubbard?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Is he still around? Let me start off by saying I've known Roland and Purcell Hedgepath almost as long as I've known Pete and Elaine Lagaretta, which is a long, long time. And I'm very lucky for that. You know, what we're doing, what you guys are doing, naming a stadium after a coach who's still coaching is just huge. It really is huge, but it's so well deserved because Roland he's done so much for the community and the school and all of it. And it's not just, you know, I love all the victories. I was the AD for 15 years, and I traveled to Santa Cruz and Aptos and San Lorenzo and then down to Monterey and Salinas, and I've seen an awful lot of big wins for Roland and some excruciating losses. He's handled them all well. But still, to name a stadium after a guy like that is just great, and I think well deserved. But if you talk to Roland, and I have talked to him over the years many, many times, he focuses on a couple things. Number one, youth soccer, getting the kids out there on the field. And you can go by Watsonville High School off of Blackburn and see him playing all the time. And that's his influence. And he's really proud of all of his students, athletes, who have gone through, and they've gone to UC Davis or Santa Clara or San Jose State or Cal State Monterey Bay, and they've graduated and gone on to do great things. Many of them have come back. That's what really is important to Roland. These kids get an education that they probably wouldn't have gotten if they hadn't been playing soccer for Roland Hedgepeth. He's really looked out after them. So it's an honor to be here, and I'd like to thank Mr. Dodge for keeping us all on track. I've read many, many emails, so it's just great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, for 8.6, I think we should vote no on this. And actually, one thing that I've struggled with is like when we bring in different consultants and the like Preston, for example, SSA, he said some things that have been things I said like months ago. And I don't understand why we got to spend money to like get an outside person to listen to them. If it would help you, I will take per diem pay, and I'd rather you just pay me, we'll meet, and I'll tell you about Model Renaissance, and let's do that instead of 8.6. 8.7, I'm also inclined to not do it. There might be some changes coming, and it might end up being a waste of money. 8.9, I think we should just staff better. I think that I feel like this is a Band-Aid to try and overcome that we're not staffing special ed appropriately. I think 8.12, my question is, did this go through Curriculum Council? I have gone to some Curriculum Council meetings this last year, and I didn't see this type of substance go through, and I would have liked to. That's I think the proper role of that committee. Also for 8.15, I think we should not vote for that one either. And on that one, I would say we should just collaborate more. Like, we should just be meeting, like, the superintendent and the union president should meet weekly. That was a thing for the longest time. I don't know why we got to spend money on, effective schools solutions and CalMe and all that. Why do we have to spend so much? Why do we need these other positions like Mark and this? Like, I don't understand why. There were other people here that have done this job, and that wasn't necessary. Also, I know one of the trustees this past school year had said, like, well, it's harder to find, to find a new superintendent. You know what's harder than a new superintendent? Rebuilding programs. Let me tell you, as somebody who was there for Model Renaissance, it's been very hard. Even when, like, we have the same goal, but because of, like, some pride thing where we can't learn from somebody who maybe doesn't have a doctorate or something, like, we're stalled. And then we're just stuck spinning our wheels.
Is that the last one? All right, thank you. That moves us on to employee organizations. First up is Pajaro Valley Federation of Teachers. And that's 5 minutes, right?
Mr. Denise, do you have your timer? I'm setting mine.
And
it's going.
We are starting our time. All right, good evening. Thank you to the board and superintendent for granting the PVFT time to address you tonight. Special thanks to Ian and Emily and all the PVFT members who showed up during the summer to represent while I was away on AFT and CFT business. PVFT members across the district are preparing for another school year in the only way we know how, which is to put our best foot forward and fight for our students, no matter the obstacles. Our members are excited, engaged, and ready to meet our next group of students and empower them to unlock their potential. It is an honor to be president of this organization. I look forward to rising up and meeting the challenges of this moment alongside each and every one of you. The district administration is so focused on their image, but they fail to recognize that their image is a reflection of how they treat their community and employees. I do want to highlight a lot of the areas where we have been able to work together because despite what Dr. Contreras says, we actually can collaborate. We've agreed to a signing bonus for new special education hires and enabled them to earn their credential on the district's dime. We have members getting paid to attend literacy, AVID, and AP trainings. We also have the work that members are doing outside of their workday to earn their letters certification, getting paid. The PVFT is not your enemy, and we are here to work with you to ensure that today's dollars are going to today's students. Together, we can create the conditions for our students to thrive while enabling our members to afford to live in the community that we love so much. Unfortunately, a lot of this collaboration gets overshadowed when the district's leadership has mismanaged staffing, student access to quality mental health supports, safety, and our negotiations. The only discernible and articulable point that's coming from the district side of the table is they have to place a cap on our benefits, which is a pay cut. The district is fighting for a pay cut while they're outsourcing jobs. We are fighting for our students. We are fighting for lower class sizes, instructional aid support for our kinder classes, lower special ed caseloads and a case management prep, increased salaries, and maintaining the benefits that allow us to put down roots in this beautiful community. The decisions of this board and district have hurt our students and staff. I just mentioned recently we learned that people who received a layoff notice only for it to be rescinded are without health care. I've become aware of more just since the 2 this morning. So this is gonna be something where if we don't really do our diligence, we're gonna be trying to play whack-a-mole and find these people who go to the doctor to have a baby and are told, sorry, you don't have health care. It's great that they're gonna be reimbursed, but what if they have to put that on their credit card and then they gain interest? Or what if they can't pay their rent? Like, y'all screwed up and now these people are suffering when you could have just never voted layoffs in the first place because you've had to call everybody to offer them positions back. Like, you've created a boom and bust cycle through your own mismanagement of this district. We're facing a mental health crisis, and I've heard board members and district administrators feed me some total BS line that sounds something like, well, we have students committing suicide with our current counseling staffing, and there's not necessarily a correlation or evidence that shows if we take counseling supports away that we'll see more suicides. So suicides are happening already, we can just take counselors away. That is something that people from this board and district office have basically said to me. This type of attitude will never be good enough for the PVFT, so we will keep fighting. We're having a rally on August 10th at Green Valley and Main Street at 7 in the morning, so show up early. We have our school sites collectively working to set boundaries to support our students' learning conditions. We will keep organizing if this superintendent and school board pushes us to a strike. We don't want to, but you bet we will be ready. On August 17th, our site rep meeting will be open to the general membership where we're going to be voting on our endorsements for school board. We moved that up early so that we can back candidates and get them elected. Justice has never belonged to those who waited quietly for someone else to act. It has always belonged to ordinary people who found the courage to stand together. I have confidence that the PVFT members in this district are those people. Let us move forward with integrity, with compassion, and with an unwavering commitment to putting our students first. Let us choose collaboration whenever possible and conviction whenever necessary.
Thank you. Next up is CSEA, California School Employees Association. Do we have anybody representing CSEA? Nope. Do we have anybody representing Communication Workers of America, CWA, the substitutes? No. Okay, moving on to consent. Item 8. Are there any public speakers to consent agenda? There are no public speakers. Oh.
No. I got a lot to say about consent agenda.
Yeah, because anything consent, we do it all the time. And it does, yes, and it doesn't matter what the order.
Brandon Denise. Oh, yeah.
We only get one time.
I signed up for like 6 different things and I want to speak to each of them.
You can speak to each of them in your 2 minutes.
No, I can
Yep.
speak to 2 minutes per.
Nope.
How it goes.
Nope.
That's how it goes.
In consent, it's
Nope.
one time.
Nope. I will stand up there and make you shut down this meeting, Carol. You're going to give me 2
I'll do that.
minutes each item.
Trustee Turley,
Trustee Medina?
parliamentary inquiry. For the consent agenda, if they want to speak to something, it is 2 minutes, correct?
Per item.
It's 2 minutes for consent agenda collectively.
How we've done it. Then you just
Can you verify that really quick or with the superintendent so we could have an accurate account for that?
You're going to give me 2 minutes per item. That's how this is going to go.
Okay, we're going to pause for about 2 minutes while I have a conference. We are back in session. I stand corrected. We will hear 2 minutes per card. And how many cards do we have?
I read the rules. Can't say the same for everybody else.
Okay. We have 8 cards. And would you like to call the names of the 8 cards? Yes, you do.
Okay. Brandon Denise, Brandon Denise, Brandon Denise, Brandon Denise, Brandon Denise, Brandon Denise, Chris Webb, Brandon Denise.
Just to mix it up. I have to pee.
Okay.
Okay, I've started a 2-minute timer. I am speaking to item 8.7. There is a reason why I put in so many speaker cards, and I'm hoping that the board is listening and is willing to defer some of these items and ask the following questions. So 8.7 is a $77,000 proposal with a consultant group called Future Management Systems for coaching and leadership development. This is coming from a discretionary block grant and I believe general fund. So discretionary block grants are discretionary. You can choose where to spend them. You don't have to choose to spend a discretionary block grant funding on $77,000 worth of coaching. So here's some questions that I have when I see things like this. Did this go to a bid? How did the district learn of future management systems? Are there any connections or crossover with our current district leadership? What is the explicit source of the discretionary block grant? And does the term discretionary not mean that we couldn't exercise the discretion to use this money to support staffing and student-facing positions? Couldn't we use discretionary block grant funding to pay for a $250 Palace stipend for all of our teachers to be able to purchase supplies? So instead, you're gonna pay Contreras, who's on her phone right now, she's gonna get 3 coaching sessions during cabinet where they're gonna have a super coach fly in and help them facilitate their cabinet meeting for a cool cost of $77,000. Discretionary, it could go to students and staff instead of going to Contreras. So please find out, who are these people? How did we get to know them? Is she lining her friends' pockets with more money? Time. Now I am speaking to 8.9. $36,000. Who is Don Berlin? What is the source of the funds? We have 4 assistant directors of SELPA we just hired, an executive director of SELPA, and a director of SELPA. So we've hired more SELPA administrators. Why do we need Don Berlin to come hold their hand? Who is Don Berlin? Is she friends with Dr. Contreras? Does she know Mark? Like, who are these people? Where are they coming from? What is the source of the $36,000 going to Don Berlin? That was item 8.9. Now, let's try this again. Cancel, restart. 8.11. This one I just wanted to ask. This is a lawsuit, so we're engaging in a contract with a law firm. Is there anything the district can share about this lawsuit that you can actually share public record? I'm genuinely asking. If not, I understand the legal process, but how much money do we anticipate spending? This looks like more of an open-ended item. I think that's 8.14 or 8.11. 8.14, couldn't read my own handwriting there. So I'd like to know anything about that lawsuit that you can tell us, understanding if you can't. New time, 8.15, $40,000 of discretionary funds for Violet Strategies and Strategic Communications and Advisory Services. Who the hell are they? Why are we spending $40,000 of discretionary funds to help our public information officer, who he works hard? He gets a lot of misinformation out there. He's a good guy. I like him. He works hard. He doesn't need a $40,000 consultant. But I do think part of me is like, damn, when we had the power outage at Aptos High last year, who remembers that? And who remembers parents going to drop their kids off and finding out that, okay, well, we have school today, but there's no power. You're going to be in the dark. Okay, well, we don't have power, so now you don't have school today, so turn around and take your kids home. Like, you have bundled communication, so I can understand why you'd like a little support, but just use your people. We don't, 40,000, the name alone, Violet Strategies and Strategic Communications and Advisory Services, $40,000 discretionary block grant fund could go to our Palace money. Okay, time again, 8.22, damn my handwriting, 8.22. Again, I actually have questions about this one that I'd like you to pull and ask because I can kind of see some validity here. This is $42,000 from the general fund for E-rate consulting. So I would like to know, how much revenue does the district anticipate, and will that be offset? Will that offset the cost of this contract? So if we're spending $42,000 for E-rate consulting and we think it's going to bring us 60, 100, 200,000, like, hell yeah. If it's going to offset the cost, let's go ahead. But if we're just throwing money around and we don't know it's going to come back, these are general fund dollars. $42,000, Bill's numbers are way wrong. I can tell you, $42,000, you could get a couple ECE teachers with that for sure. Time again, 8.27, field trip policy. I've missed the last couple board meetings, so I don't know if this one came forward as a first read and then it gets approved on, or if this is the type of board policy that needs to go through that process. If not, I get it. If so, let's pull it so we can do a first read and move on. I also want to know, what was the process in developing the field trip policy? Were teachers consulted? Were members consulted? Students, the community? Or did we just kind of pull this one because it's a standard boilerplate? Does it need a first read? Like, let's ask those questions. And then I have one more. 8.28, Leading Literacy Consulting, LLC. $157,000. And I don't see a funding source attached to this. I know how to read these agendas. Are these Title I dollars? Are they restricted dollars? Are they discretionary block grant dollars? Like, where is the $157,000 for leading literacy consulting? So if you add all of these contracts up, you're at least, just looking at the ones that are discretionary and general fund, $195,000 worth of contracts just set to be rubber stamped. And if you include that 8.28, $352,000 worth of bullshit contracts set to be approved tonight. When we're cutting student mental health supports, when we're laying off counselors, when we're laying off mental health clinicians, when we're taking our $250 Palace stipend. There's certain board members who talk a lot about fiscal responsibility. It is not fiscally responsible to give Contreras a blank check, to hand her friends money, or to do things like consultants who are going to tell you how to run a meeting. Didn't you guys actually appoint Mark specifically because she was all about him and she knew how great he was? but he needs a coach or someone to hold his hand. Like, make it make sense. I do appreciate you giving me the time because that's the way it should have happened. And I didn't even take 2 minutes per item, so thank you.
So it's Chris Webb, then Brandon, right? Brandon's coming back? Oh, is that it? Okay.
No, it got mixed in there.
Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, okay, it was 828. It reminded me of one thing. Oh, you're right. All right, I'll give it to you. All right.
Oh, it's a different Chris?
No, it was, the wrong one was put in here.
Oh, got it. So that was public comment on consent agenda.
Just to,
Just a second, are there any items which board members wish to defer?
oh, can I make the motion on that?
Yes.
I would like to defer items 8.6, 8.7, 8.9, 8.14, 8.15, 8.22, 8.27, and 8.28.
I heard a motion to approve consent agenda, moving the following items to deferred consent: 8.6, 8.7, 8.9, 8.14, 8.15, 8.22, 8.27, and 8.28. Is there a second to that motion? Motion fails. What?
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, so there is a motion and a second to approve consent with the items that I just listed moved to deferred. All those in favor signify by saying aye. I see one. That was an aye? Okay, I see two. All those opposed signify by saying aye. That's 3-2. Motion does not carry. Okay, anybody else want to try a motion?
Looks like we're going to be at a deal breaker all night.
Well, let's try a little bit and see what we can get.
I'd like to make a motion to pass the consent agenda items as is.
I hear a motion to pass the consent agenda as is. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I hear a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. That is 3. Those opposed signify by saying aye. That's 2. We are 3-2.
So this is where bargaining comes in?
This is absolutely where bargaining comes in.
So,
okay, make a new motion.
Here, I'll actually do us one better because I know you all don't want to be here late. How about we just do this? I move to completely remove and vote no in totality 8.6, 8.7, 8.9, 8.14, 8.15, 8.22, 8.27, 8.28 as the motion. So you all don't have to stay late. We don't have to answer questions. We could just vote no across those 8 items.
Okay, I hear a motion to approve the agenda, removing the 8 items. Is there a second to that motion? I do not hear a second to that motion. Fails for lack of a second. Is there an alternate motion? Anybody want to give it a try?
Some of y'all are up for re-election. This looks really bad.
Anybody want? Okay, I'm going to try an alternate then. How are we going to do this? Okay, I move to approve the agenda as written, pulling for discussion under deferred. This is going to take me a minute. Sorry. 8.6 is low, that's important. Approve proposal. Boy. Okay, I'm in the middle of do you have a suggestion? Okay.
Put it on the mic, Contreras.
Yeah. So 8.28 funding is from Title I? 28. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve as written, moving the one that doesn't have the funding source, which I think was 8.28.
I don't know why it's not there.
Please stop. Is it 2.8?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Yes. And the list is right there.
I just want to see why
Is not listed? Okay. I really don't want to do this, but I guess we're going to do it because we got to get some stuff approved and moved on. So I'm going to make a motion to approve consent, removing, not Coco.
If there's questions that I can assist with, Joy, for you?
I think maybe we have to
yeah,
wait
I
until
have-
the deferred.
I-
We would have to pull the item
Yeah.
so we could have a discussion on that.
Yep.
You can't make up rules up here, okay?
I'm just offering that if you want to go
I'm
through
losing-
the process,
I'm losing the
I
meeting.
can.
I don't think you were
assist with
recognized,
the
Dr. Contreras.
questions.
Thank
I'm
you.
losing the meeting.
I
Okay,
don't
let's
have to
get
be
back.
recognized to speak. No, I don't.
Please. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to approve the agenda, removing 8.6, 8.7, 8.9, 8.14, 8.15, 8.22, 8.27, 8.28, moving it to deferred. Any second?
I'll second.
It's the same.
It was
ones
the
that you
same
guys
thing
said.
I said.
All those in favor, and this isn't pulling, this is moving into deferred. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, motion passes 5-0-0-2. All right, everything's approved except 8.6. Now we're moving into item 9, which is deferred. So 8.6. Approve amendment to Upwell Services Agreement, H.A. Hyde Elementary School. Is there a specific question on this item?
Yeah, I have a question on this. So this is 8.6, correct? Okay. So the purchase order report in 8.1 has 5 separate 50,000 purchase orders to Upwell in 3-week window, and in addition to tonight's 50,000 agreement. What is the district's total committed spend with Upwell across sites for 27, and why has that total never been presented to this board as a single number?
I also have one question I'd like to add to that. Is this a request from that site to use their school
Yes.
dollars?
So Upwell is coaching for parent engagement, and the reason why it's not coming in totality is because the school sites are using their site funding to pay for this as a strategy that their school site, with their school, in conjunction with their school site council, has deemed as a strategy to use to help increase parent engagement. So they're bringing this forward with their school site Title I dollars or their community school dollars, or a combination of both. And this is a site strategy that they've engaged in. Because the dollar amount is at that dollar amount, it comes through to the school board. And because it comes in separate contracts, because they're site contracts, that's why it's coming in batches like that, because they're making the decisions with their school site council or else turning them into us at different times.
So we have worked with them before, correct?
Yes, this has been ongoing work with Upwell for several years now.
And have we gotten a report on this consultant, their deliverables, how they've engaged with the community? Because I don't think I've seen one.
Mr. Berman, can you answer that question?
Yeah, it's Upwell we haven't contracted with. It was formerly, I'll get you the name. It was a different one, but it's the same people. And it's the same people, and they've done a really great job. They're the ones that come and help support the parent-family conference. I don't have numbers for you, but I can work
Okay.
on that with the sites.
Yeah, and the reason why I asked is because in Exhibit A, it lists 10 virtual sessions and 11 on-site engagements for 50,000, so roughly 2,400 per engagement per day with no reduction. So if sessions do not occur, do we retain that money, or do they still get paid out?
I believe if they don't happen, then he would only invoice for the ones that he does. That's my belief.
Okay, is that explicitly written in the contract? And I'm asking because I know the answer.
I'm not sure.
It's a no. Okay. Exhibit A includes developing a plan for the 27-28 school year. So why does a one-year agreement per script its own renewal before any evaluation of this year's work?
I believe that's to support the development of the SIPSA, the school plan, with full family engagement. So it's not just a copy and paste document, that it fully takes into consideration all the shareholders.
Okay, and then who at the district administrators administers this contract day to day, and how will the district verify each of the 11 site engagements actually occurred before releasing payment?
I believe it'll be a combination now with changes between myself and school leadership and with finance.
Okay, and so you don't have any documentation from any of the schools stating like, hey, we really enjoyed this service? Or is there evaluation attached to this?
There is. I can get you more information about it, but the reason why we still work with them is because we started working with this particular consultant in 2020, and principals themselves and their teams have worked and proliferated the work at different schools because of the benefits that they've gotten with their work with them. So I believe this is the 15th school in some form that has worked with this individual consultant because of the results that they're getting with their family engagement.
Got it. Okay, so my concern is not whether Upwell does good work, even though I haven't seen what work they've done. My concern is that this board has never seen the whole Upwell relationship in one place, and the Title I dollars deserve that transparency. So that's why I will be voting no.
I do want to make one note is that if Title I dollars, if it are being used for this, it does go into every single school's single plan for student achievement. Any dollar spent in the single plan for student achievement does have to be evaluated against data and shown that the data is moving because of the strategy that the school is engaged in. And if the data isn't moving in the way they believe the strategy they're engaged in is intended to impact that data, then the school site council, along with the principal, is supposed to let go of that strategy. Single plans for student achievement come before the board every year annually. That plan, the money expended, and the data it impacts is all included in that plan. So that has actually come before the board annually. And that would include, if the title expenditures are for Upwell, you would be seeing that.
So just to clarify, you have produced evaluations for this consultant?
If it is in the title plan.
No, Contreras, let's not do this. Yes or no?
Let her answer the question.
If Upwell is in their title plan, it would have been evaluated as part of their single plan for student achievement if they are using title dollars.
And was that presented to the board?
It would have been, the single plans for student achievement are all presented to the board.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments on this item? Anybody want to make a motion to approve this item? Oh, I'm sorry. Trustee Dodge?
I'd just like to make a motion with 8.6, but as Trustee Medina says, we need to keep better receipts and results.
Okay, I hear a motion to approve with guidance that we would like to make sure somebody's checking receipts and results. Is there a second to that motion?
Agreeing with Trustee Dodge, I make second motion.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. All those voting no. That is 4102. Motion passes. And that moves us on to 8.7. And that is approved proposal for future management system with Lyle Kurtman. Was there a specific question? I think you originally wanted to bring that out.
Yeah, we're being asked to pay $77,500 for an executive coaching for the superintendent and her cabinet, and there is no contract. There is a 2-page letter, no start date, no end date, no termination clause, no way to hold anyone accountable, and payment set up as a 4-flat quarterly installment of $19,375, whether or not the session happens. That's in the contract. This is the second year of this arrangement, and the board has never received a single report on what the year produced. Our teachers are in negotiations, our classified workers are working as hard as they can with little resources, and we have no chief business officer. And the item in front of us is more coaching for the people at the top, recommended by the office that receives it. So I cannot explain that to my constituents and parents in the area. As I'm preparing for courses at Cabrillo College, I could teach somebody about film any day. Any day. I could sit them in a room and teach them about film. But if they're not out in the ground and in the field and collecting that information and getting that hands-on experience, they're not going to progress forward. And that's exactly what you're doing with these people. You're telling them, we're going to get somebody for you. That way, when it doesn't work, we could blame the consultant. Right? It's a deferment. And honestly, if the cabinet level can't take the time in order to actually learn like our teachers do when new systems come, I don't see why we should be throwing money at them when they haven't demonstrated anything to us with these evaluations or these contracts. So I'm going to vote no. And also, let's not forget, the superintendent made us pay her $15K for not attending her executive trainings, and now she's asking us to pay almost triple that for her and her cabinet. That's wild. Thank you.
Any other comments on this item? Is there a motion to approve this item? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trustee Flynn.
I'm just curious, are there other consultants that were looked at? Why this one? What's the lens that was looked through when looking for this consultant? Just from doing the little research that I have, I'm just concerned that there might be a narrow view, and I want to make sure that whoever is helping to coach and manage has an understanding of our community.
So,
and maybe reflects to them.
this is an organizational coach. He actually works very closely with Michael Fullen. That's a name that most educators know. He's written a number of books. This consultant has actually written a book called Coherence. It's all about systems management and how you help to organize systems, which is something that our district has been in need in, as you know. So it's a good fit for our district. We actually have read the book. This is really a standard rate for professional development. And I firmly believe that everyone needs professional learning and professional development at every level. This contract, although I'm not sure why it seems to read cabinet, everyone from cabinet to coordinators, directors, supervisors at the district level to our principals is working with Mr. Kurtman. We have all been looking at leadership, different leadership qualities, and we all have coaching sessions and different leadership sessions with him. We did this last year, and we hope to continue the work and build on it for this year, and it's been very, very popular with everyone who has worked with him. In fact, different departments and sites are wanting to expand the work with him with their own dollars that they have. We are expected as a district, especially because we're in district assistance for our low performance, to spend money on professional learning from everyone throughout the system. The dollars that this is being used for are dollars that you would not be able to spend for ongoing expenditures like salaries. It comes out of discretionary spending, or what we have also been calling our unrestricted funds. Our restricted funds. So this is money meant for professional development. We have to spend it somewhere. And just like, AJ Craybill and Effective School Boards has said, if you don't have the expertise inside of your system, you go out and find it. I really can't say enough about Mr. Kurtman's work and what he continues to do to help build our leadership. And I think every cabinet member would probably say the same for how he's supporting them, as well as the others who are looking to use their own department and school money to continue the work.
I agree that professional development is important. I just would like to,
I want to go back to like yours, comparing across. We always have to do comparative studies of like, did you look at what other companies or things would pay for this similar type of work, so that we know that we're not paying someone some way out of the ballpark. And so this is comparative to different people we would work with, like Doug Reeves, Creative Leadership Solutions, Solution Tree, things, people of that nature, Michael Fullen, if we brought him in.
the thing I was going to say is just that I would like to see some consultants that are really reflective of the community that they're working with.
Do any other trustees have comments or questions on this item?
I actually have a follow-up question really quick. So the payment box selected is 4 flat quarterly automated clearinghouse installments of $19,375, regardless of services delivered. And the pay when services are provided option was left unselected. So I'm just curious who made that election and what protects the district if sessions do not occur, because it's not clearly stated in the contract.
So I didn't process the contract that came from Gerardo's office. And we've never missed any sessions at all with Lyle Kurtman. And I can't foresee how we would miss anything with him. These are professionally scheduled days. We schedule them out ahead of time. They're on the calendars. I just don't understand how we would miss that. It's not like, oh, we feel like meeting with him today, or let's just cancel that. They're all scheduled out ahead and in advance.
Your office seems to do that quite a lot, so I would...
Your time is already up. We had already moved on to Trustee Flynn. Okay, Dodge Jr. or Navarro? Anybody want to make a motion?
I just wanted to reiterate that, one of the things that as a board we've been trying to focus on is bringing our district up to speed, bringing our district forward, where clearly our students are needing some more support. Our students are underperforming where they should be. A lot of districts have made the comeback from COVID, and our district has not. And so I'm happy to be involved in professional development at all levels. I like the fact that our teachers have been doing professional development all week. We have a lot of new cabinet members. This seems, I did my research on this company. They look like they're pretty mainstream, standard, like the vanilla choice of all of this, and have been working with 700 different districts across the United States. So I will make a motion to approve.
Is there a second to the motion to approve this item? I'll make the second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, all those opposed. Motion fails 2-3-0-2. Would anybody like to make an alternate motion?
I'm not opposed to professional development at all.
Excuse me, it's her turn. It's Trustee Flynn's turn.
Thank you. I just am curious of other options that could exist.
There's a lot more professional development on the rest of the agenda.
You haven't been recognized.
So,
it's not your turn to speak.
and
right
you
now.
don't know the rules, so where are we going?
It's not your turn right
Exactly.
now. When is the first one of these trainings anticipated?
We've been working with Mr. Kurtman ongoing since I started here. And I believe we have some ongoing ones because he works both one-on-one with people in the district, many people in the district, and then we also have a small group and larger group trainings. We have lots of trainings that he provides. We may even have someone maybe meeting with him next week I'm certain they probably are. So it is probably, this is really unfortunate. I feel like when we select someone, we are professionals in our field. We're experts at what we do, and we know what we need. And we're working hard to get better at what we do. And I think our data shows that we are making gains. And so I feel like it's really unfortunate not to have this approved tonight.
And it's unfortunate we haven't made a contract with PVFT. I think that should also be expressed.
You're not recognized. It is unfortunate, but, okay, it appears that there will be no approval tonight of 8.7. That moves us on to 8.9, approve agreement with Don Berlin, an independent contractor for professional services. Was there a specific question that you had, Mr. Medina, Trustee Medina?
Thank you, Trustee Medina. The contract on the agenda for this items do not describe the same deal. The contract is, in our packet, caps this work at 100 hours at $150 an hour, which is $15,000. The agenda asks us to approve up to $35,000. Both cannot be true. The contract was also fully signed by the district staff on July 14th, 3 weeks before this board was asked to approve. And the copy in our packet is missing text. Our students with extensive support needs deserve strong programs, and they also deserve a district that can produce a clean contract that says what we are buying, for how much, what outcomes. So I'll be voting no and asking staff to bring this back correctly if they wanted to get approved.
Are there other trustees with comments on this item? Could you ask the question?
I just wanted to make sure. So my understanding for this item is that since we're having a large transition over in our special ed department, that these two folks, Dawn and Leslie, are the through line because they've been working with the program the entire time. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, that's correct. Leslie Codion and Don Berlin, when we had no special education administrators at the district level, really helped to carry us through last year, along with Heather Gorman. Heather Gorman has now retired, and we have a completely new and stellar, I might add, staff at the special education district level. However, Leslie and Dawn together have a lot of history of what happened over the last year, and we were making some very significant improvements and changes. And so we thought it would be best, and in conjunction with our new staff, they also agreed that it would be best in the interim to have some support with Leslie and Dawn, especially because there are so many legalities within special education that we don't want to make sure we don't miss anything.
Thank you. Would you anticipate that this would be the last year of this contract?
Yes.
Thank you. I feel strongly that each one of us, I believe, has said we're concerned about our special ed, and you're bringing us something to continue some good work that has just started. And it seems to me, if we want to prioritize special ed as something important to us, we want to continue supporting this work. Daniel Dodge, did you have a comment on this? No, okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve 8.9?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. That looks like 4 to me. All those opposed? 1, so that the motion carries 4-1-0-2. That moves us on to 8.14, which is approve Davis, Bankston, and Young APLC agreement. Davis, Bankston, and Young will, I don't need to read all of that. You all have that in front of you. Does anyone have, any board member have any comments on any of these items? Trustee Flynn?
It seems as if this is a necessary thing, so I will, as soon as everybody talks, make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Any other trustee comments? Trustee Medina?
I wanted to pull this more to get more information because I know if you read the agenda last time, we already approved Lozano Smith and another law firm. So I'm curious why we're getting another one. And, you know, the superintendent has also tried hiring another law firm to kind of come after me. So I want to know if this is the same contract that she's utilizing with public funding to come after a sitting board member, or if this is completely separate from that. And I'd love to hear from the superintendent.
I don't know what you're talking about in terms of hiring someone to come after you.
Really?
I do not.
Facebook later today, y'all.
Excuse me.
And as for this, I don't think this is something we're going to discuss right now. We're asking the board for approval for this particular attorney to work with this particular case.
And for what reason? Like, can you just explain a little bit more about the? It's right here, so you could read it if you want.
Yeah. You can ask me later about this.
We can read what's on the agenda, but people have already said that. But as far as what the case is, I don't think we can talk about that in open.
It's read what's there, and that's what we're asking for.
I believe it's written in a way that anybody who read it would be able to understand what's in there. I don't think,
You think people could read legalese like
and
this?
I don't believe we should ask someone who's not an attorney to interpret legalese.
I hope that applies to you.
I keep trying to practice law, but I am continually reminded that I'm not qualified. Would anybody okay, we got to stop this conversation. It's unrelated. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve 8.14?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. That looks like 4 to me. All those opposed? That was I did see your hand, right, Daniel? Okay. All those opposed? All those abstaining? Not voting, I guess, is the same as abstaining. So I'm going to call that 4012. Motion passes. And that moves us on to 8.15. Approve professional services agreement with Violet Strategies for strategic communications and advisory services. The board is asked to approve a professional services agreement and Violet Strategies to provide supplemental strategic communication and advisory services from August 6th, 2026 through January 31, 2027. Do any trustees have any questions or comments on this item? Trustee Flynn?
I would just like to know a little bit more about this. Yes. So what we're seeing, and really started seeing a lot of through the summer, is a tremendous increase in public information requests. When we had Alicia Jimenez here working in as the community school specialist, and one of the things she had done as our public information officer too, but then she continued that work when she was in the community school specialist, was a huge assistance with all the public information requests. We've seen a tremendous uptick. Alicia has retired, and we really need some additional assistance. The person who's responsible for the public information requests is Alejandro Chavez, and it's putting a hindrance into the amount of work he's able to do because he's doing a lot of public information requests. And so we'd like to have some assistance so that we can continue with our communications, as the board has identified that as an area of need for our district coming out of the district office. And so that is why we're asking to have this contract approved. It is coming from discretionary funds, restricted monies.
Thank you. Excuse me. Do any other trustees have comments on this item?
Yeah. So,
Trustee Medina?
thank you. Dr. Contreras, I hear what you're saying. So are you saying that the current PIO does not have the skills nor the capacity to complete these requests? Is that what I'm hearing?
He has the skills and he has the capacity, absolutely, to engage in the public information requests. However, there's a tremendous volume of them. There's timelines, as you know, associated with getting that work done. And it takes up a lot of time and takes him away from other work that we also need to do.
I know. I had to even put in a request, and I'm a board trustee because I can't get information from the superintendent. So I'm sorry, but I think when you're hiring these people, you should know that people are going to be requesting information. That's a given. People do that. So I don't see why we need to invest $40,000 into this when you have a deputy superintendent that we just approved who should be able to slot in where those gaps are happening.
So the public information requests that I'm referring to are actually ones that are coming from big entities, that things like Muck Rock.
Oh, so you'll respond to those. Got it.
Excuse me.
No, we have to respond to all of them.
I know I'm taking you to court if you don't.
Yes. And in addition to that, there's other things that have to get done that are compliance work from other positions that you're also citing.
And have you worked with this person before?
No, I have not worked with
You
this
haven't.
person before.
Those are all the questions I have.
Any other trustees with comments or questions on this item? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve this item? I hear a motion. I'll second the motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. That's looking like 3. That's looking like 4 in favor. Any opposed? Okay, 4 in favor, 1 against, and 2 absent. Motion carries. That moves us to, let's see, that was 15. I lost my page. There it is. That moves us to 822. $19, 21, 22. Okay. 8.22, approve agreement with David Sonderegger for E-rate consulting services for fiscal year 2026-2027. Do any trustees have any questions or comments on this item? Trustee Medina.
How much revenue do we anticipate that this person is going to bring back? And are we going to break even because we're paying them this fee, or do you expect that to be a little bit more that you're hoping to receive back?
Misty, do you want to answer that for us?
Sure. So the E-rate consultant oversees $3.4 million in funding that we receive over a 5-year period. So he negotiates and manages that. Once it's approved, it covers 90% of the $3.4 million in funding. So we pay 10% of whatever we're funded. And then in this last school year, he actually went through the AT&T billing, because that's another area that he oversees. And he found that AT&T overbilled PVUSD over a 2-year period, $187,000. And so that was fully credited back to us in May. And so he kind of paid for himself in that year. He has been the consultant for the last 5 years that I'm aware of, and he's fully been managing the E-rate with the help of the infrastructure team.
Thank you. A follow-up question. What happened? You said $187,000. Where did that money go when it was returned?
So it's actually not a check back to us, it's a credit, so we will not pay the AT&T bill until we catch up with that. So we have a $187,000 credit on the AT&T bill.
Okay, and was this regarding the cell tower?
Had
Or
nothing to do with
the cell tower? Okay.
No. E-rate funds 90% of your the AT&T bills, and so he found that they were overbilling over the last 4 years.
Oh, cool. Thank you, Missy.
Any other trustees have a question or comment? Do they also look at PG&E and other utilities?
Unfortunately, no. This is strictly for Category 1 and 2 through E-rate funding, so it has to do with communication and infrastructure.
Got it, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve this item?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And a second? I hear a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That looked like 4 to me. All opposed? All abstaining. Okay, motion carries 4-0-1-2. That moves us on to 827. Approved school-sponsored field trip policy, 6153. Do any trustees have any comments or questions on this item? I said 27.
Yeah, we're-
8.27. I think I saw a hand over here though before you. Thank you. Okay. Trustee Navarro?
I think there's a question about whether this was a readout already, and I just wanted to reiterate that this was actually at a former meeting. Brandon, I think you were not there, but we did already have a readout of this.
Thank you.
That was my question. So this was put on report and discussion before it came to consent? Okay, I'll need to look back at that. But a question that I have is more of why did it get brought to us now? Because I've heard some things, so I just want to know if somebody could explain that, why this is being brought now to be updated.
There are actually several reasons why it was being brought up, but the main one was, and as we've been going through our board policies, we have several different policies that have not been updated. Not several, we have a lot of policies that need updating, and that end up being out of compliance for different reasons. Field trip was one of them. So this one needed to be updated. We also wanted to do some work on our field trips, mainly because our field trips were causing some problems with transportation, because we weren't having a lot of availability, one for field trips, one home to school transportation was at odds with that. And then charter buses was kind of coming into play. And that also had to do with contract issues with our transportation department. So there's a whole lot of things that were playing into the field trip policy that led us to say, well, maybe we need to look at the field trip policy, start with the policy there, and then start working on how we're going to carry out that policy. So where we are in the process is we brought this forward to you on May 8th as a first read. We're bringing it back for approval. Now, there were a couple things that from board feedback, I believe that we did a little bit of updating too in this policy. And we did have a field trip committee. We still have an active field trip committee, because board policy is one thing, that's like the overarching laws and legalities. The administrative regulation, as I've explained before, is how we carry out the policy. And that's more our internal mechanisms, like things like what is the permission slip going to look like? How are we going to have people request the field trip? How might our field trips align to standards-based field trips? How many field trips should each grade level get? Those kinds of things. And so there is a committee of teachers, and I think some students are chiming into that, because we always include especially our upper grade students, and even parents, asking parents about this in our field trip committee.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So we're still working on parts of it. It's not all the way done yet.
Okay. The reason why
On the administrative regulation piece.
I'm going to speak. Got anything else? Good? All right. The reason why I'm asking, and I want assurances, because it sounds like Pajaro Middle School triggered this because of their Washington, D.C. field trip. And I would like, okay, I get you're saying no, but the perception out there is very differently. So, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is that field trip to Washington, D.C. has been around way before you even came here, which is what, like a year and 6 months? So I want to make sure that you are supporting them opposed to canceling that trip. And I want those assurances right now that that's going to happen.
Yes, so field trips, like trips to Washington, D.C., are not school-based field trips. Those are trips that the students from our schools may attend, but we work with outside organizations
on those. People from the school may work with outside organizations on those.
So are they still going to be able to go on the trip?
So I don't know what's happening with that part of the field trip. I don't think there's any barriers to them going on the field trip.
You
but
just listed a barrier.
What
You said
barrier?
there an outside organization needs to go on this trip?
No, they do I believe that they've always partnered with an outside organization.
Okay.
I don't think that PMS has always done that. I'm a little aware what some of those things are, but usually it's outside of even the school year. They're not they go in the summer.
Yeah,
don't
they go because they're fundraising the year, and then in
Yeah.
the summertime they
Yeah.
go off, kind of like Upward Bound and all those other
I think
programs.
Mark has some.
Yeah, Trustee Medina, actually, the language under the non-district sponsored student trip is actually beneficial, because I would say putting the parameters on what a staff member should and shouldn't do in the promotion, you can get yourself in hot water and an outside entity that is non-district sponsored actively promoting that. So it lays that parameters down that I think it follows the education code that is very, very beneficial to have.
Cool. I just want same treatment for Pajaro Middle School, because I know other schools go out of state, go to other events, especially sports teams, and I just want there to be consistent standard, because who doesn't want to go to Washington, D.C.? Well, probably not now, but, because of what's going on. We have a little mini version of Trump over here as well, but, I want to make sure that that is still being a standard, because I remember going on the Ivy League trip, and that was an amazing experience. It made me realize I'm not going to any of these schools because I just couldn't see myself there. And maybe some of these students want to go into politics or these things, and I would hate for them to be derailed because you all aren't putting in an effort in order to get them to where they need to be so they could attend this trip.
Did you have a comment?
I have a
Trustee?
comment, yes. I just want to make sure that there is a distinction between these out-of-state trips not being sponsored by PVUSD. They are not. They're a completely separate thing. So I appreciate the call out that, Mark, that you made. But so the barrier wouldn't be from PVUSD is my understanding, because PVUSD is allowing this third-party entity to come in, and basically a teacher will decide with that third party whether or not they're going to participate and kind of lead that process. The students are fundraising so that they can pay the third-party entity to go. And I recognize that because there is payment needed and fundraising that needs to be done, how they work that out and how it's distributed is completely separate from PVUSD. I only know this because I dealt with this at Aptos Junior High when they do their Washington trip, and they do it during spring break so that it's not involved in school days. And then I have my own student did a trip through the same company out of the country. So, but if you have any other questions, I'm happy to.
Any other trustee comments? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
And a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 1, 2, that looks like 4 in favor, opposed, and abstaining. Okay, motion carries 4-0-1-2. And that moves us on to our final consent agenda item, 8.28. Approve Leading Literacy Consulting Agreement for implementation of Comprehensive Literacy Plan, TK through 12. Do any trustees have comments or questions on this item? Trustee Medina?
Yeah. Has the district paid Leading Literacy Consulting any money in fiscal year 25-26? And if so, how much was that? I'm trying to gauge the total we've already spent on this organization. And I'm only asking because a few people at my site have issues in terms of working with some of these consultants. they haven't had a great experience, and I've asked if there's an evaluation. I haven't received one. So I guess it's a two-part question. One, with our consultants, is there a framed evaluation process so we could see how staff and teachers are working with the consultants that we're approving? Because if it's not a good match, it's not a good match. And we need to determine that. And from what I'm hearing from my teachers in my area, is this was a really bad experience for them. So, and that's why I'm pulling this, because there are concerns. They've said numerous emails have been sent. They have not got a response. And I understand that Miss Newton's from Modesto, right? She comes out of Modesto? You sure? Okay.
She lives in Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay. So nobody on your cabinet or yourself worked with Miss Newton before?
I have worked with her
You've
before.
worked with her before? Thought so. Okay. And there was no bid for this, correct?
So with consultants like that, you don't go to bid, but you go to look at comparisons to make sure that you're not having someone way far off of what like work would have been. So as for consultant work and looking at if it's effective, we look at data. So is what we would like to see improving? So in terms of this work, we started with 6 and now we have 12 schools that are literacy grant schools because our schools are underperforming in reading. And so we actually receive grant dollars to engage in professional development for teachers and principals so that we can raise the student achievement at those schools. And we're expected to spend those dollars on professional learning. And a lot of times that is to bring experts in to help build the capacity at the sites.
Got it. So I guess my question is
those 2 sites that for 25, 26, you asked about 25, 26, those are both literacy sites. We brought that in as a small pilot to work with Ms. Newton to see, let's do these. We call them our Change Project schools. We're going to work intensively here with the coaches at the site, along with the teachers, but it was mainly really working with the coaches and the principal to build leadership capacity and coaching capacity. We also brought in a phonics program. And so there was also the 95% phonics program, and there were developers who came in from that phonics program who also worked with the site, teaching them the phonics program. So you may have also, I know a couple of the emails that you sent seemed to me that they were maybe talking about the consultants from the phonics program. I don't know, when you said there were emails that were sent that were unanswered, I haven't received emails regarding either of the consultants.
Okay.
And if I did, I responded to emails. I may not have included you in my response, but I respond to people's emails. Our data at those sites, we look at several different progress monitoring measures, and the data at those sites has improved.
Okay.
So that's what we're going on, and so we have brought that consultant back. She's continued to work with our coaches. They developed the professional learning for our K-3 teachers. That was incredibly successful from our survey data at the end of the professional learning, that one of them just ended today. And we, like the data I just showed, we're seeing growth for our students.
Okay, and I just want to field this. So teachers' complaint reported at Hall and Radcliffe, Radcliffe is our little child, Danny, and questions about the support curriculums fit for predominantly English learner student body. So that's what's concerning to me about this. So
this is not a curriculum that this person works with. This person does not come with a curriculum. This person supports strategies and is
not tied, she supports any kind of curriculum that anyone works with and is tied to implementation of the curriculum that that district works with.
Well,
So it's all about looking at strategies and the implementation of strategies.
Cool. I get the strategy piece, but if they're producing an environment where teachers are very uncomfortable, right? They don't feel like they're being listened to, right? Especially in areas with high Spanish speakers and other indigenous languages. I'm just worried that we're not hearing these voices, and I don't have an evaluation. Was there an evaluation done of Miss Newton that can be produced to us, so that way we could bring this back and have more of a discussion? Because that concerns me when I'm hearing about Hall and Radcliffe not feeling like this consultant is doing their due diligence and listening to them. So was there any evaluations done on Ms. Newton?
Like I said, we look at what impact we have on the data, and we do have survey data on how was this professional learning for you.
Okay, can you provide that to us before we make a decision on this? Because this is just one person who's contacting me, and I mean, several people who are contacting me. I don't know how many more are out there, right, that may feel this same way. So I think that's something that we need to address, and I'm asking the board if we could just vote no on this and bring it back with those evaluations so we could see how this consultant is working within our district, because this makes me very concerned.
I would also like to note, because I know this is important to you, and you did just bring it up, that Mrs. Newton is also a Spanish speaker.
Cool.
Trustee Flynn? I think what I'm hearing is that even though they might be a Spanish speaker, there may not be a cultural competency that is being displayed, and maybe what Trustee Medina's constituency are referring to. So I recognize the importance of this. My question is there any evaluation that is attached to this to help her grow in, if there is a cultural competency discrepancy? And is there, give me a second, a way to attach an evaluation and a performance evaluation to this contract? I'm just kind of speaking.
Yeah, if the board would like that in the future, I would never want to put that out there publicly, because we don't do that publicly. And we do have data I can share. I do want to point out that Trustee Medina just said for himself that he received one email. So this is reflective of a person.
I took it back. I said many emails.
Okay, that is not.
If you want to get into diction, we could do that.
That's
Please
not
let
what
her finish.
That's not what we've been hearing. The board has approved, or has been working on the goals and guardrails, and one of those is third grade reading. And one of the other agreements that we've made is that when we look at the tools that we need to be successful, that we have the expertise to know that, and that we are working closely with our teachers and our administrators to provide resources. Today we had a very, very successful professional end of 3 days of professional learning. And I debriefed with the coaches who are our teachers who helped to provide that. And Ms. Newton was there, and the coaches all stated this, and I wish they were here, that they could not have provided this level of professional learning to our teachers without the help of Ms. Newton. Additionally, in terms of cultural competency, Ms. Newton was the principal at dual language schools where the whole entire school was just Spanish speaking.
Modesto?
And no, actually in Riverbank.
Let her finish.
And
let's let her finish, please.
And so I would think that she has, cultural competency.
I mean, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I just, want to say, I think we're really aware of those types of things and are trying to select people who do work well
with others. Yeah.
Well, and here with our population. I mean,
Yeah.
we know we have high ELs. We know the strategies we need to engage in need to be strategies that help English learners. That is a large percentage of the conversations that we have when we're choosing the strategies that we need to use to get the results that our students need. And I know that you're seeing those strategies take root because our data is moving. And Ms. Newton has been part of that. She helped us last year. And that's why we're looking to expand that for this year. And I have heard 12 of our coaches credit her with helping to develop them. And in the end, what we want to have is her not here. The idea is that you move them out, that you don't need them anymore because we've developed our capacity and our expertise here, so.
I think I would just like to know that there is some sort of evaluation from.
Oh, yeah, there
the
is.
people
I mean,
that
there
we-
is. You just hadn't asked for it beforehand.
Okay.
And then additionally, I do want to note that this fund is all funded as part of the literacy that we need, the literacy grants that we get because we're expected to spend that money in that way.
Thank you.
A follow-up.
Trustee Medina?
So what I'm hearing is, as long as the data is great, we don't care how our teachers are being treated, right? As long as it's showing us that this is doing good, that's all that matters. And I think that is totally wrong, completely wrong. If we are not creating an environment where teachers feel safe that they could teach, then I don't know why we're doing that. Also, I see an email that we were both CC'd on. You didn't respond to it. You probably did. But if you did, can you tell us about the classroom incident where this consultant was in the classroom and demeaned one of the teachers as she was actually teaching in class? Did you respond to that email?
I am not sure what email you're referring to. I don't have it in front of me. You have it in front of you. So I don't want to say something that's inaccurate. And I don't know of that incident, and I wasn't there for that incident.
But you've read every email
I
that's
can
came in,
definitely
correct?
look into that. Like I said, I don't have it in front of me. You have it in front of you.
I do, and that's why you were being dishonest in what you were saying.
I'd like to move on. Do any other trustees have comments on
I
this
do.
item?
I would like to make a motion to table this indefinitely until we get an evaluation.
Is there a second to the motion to table this item until additional information is provided to the board? Is there a second?
You guys don't care about how teachers
Not hearing a second, it fails for lack of. Is there an alternate motion?
I have a question, clarifying question. Is there a way for the people that she's working with to be able to have a space to speak about their experience and have it addressed? Because she's not a direct employee, so if there's a situation where someone's not feeling psychologically safe to be able to be coached or to learn, then that's not.
Yeah, we don't force the coaching model on anyone. That is a voluntary process. We hope that everyone would want to engage in that. And so if someone finds that, like that, I didn't like that, that wasn't a good experience for me, then one of the options is you just don't have to do that.
How does that incident, I guess, or get addressed? Like, does that
in that
teacher have
case-
any? Does that
yeah,
individual have any recourse? Do they have a manager or somebody that
Yeah,
they can
in
go
that
to help
case-
mediate the situation,
Mhm.
rather than have that person who's engaging in the coaching, not the coach, but the person who's engaging in the coaching, who wants to receive the coaching, they don't have to, bow out just because of this incident. That's not fair, because then they're not being able to get, more education and better skills and upskilled. So how?
Yeah. In that case, Trustee Flynn, we would hope to see that the person would talk to the principal, and then the principal would help with mediating that conversation if that was the desire of the person to do that. And that is one of the things we're actually working with our principals, is helping to have those types of conversations. Not everyone wants to do that, though, but we would hope that would be something that would happen.
Thank you.
And I don't think that information was shared with Ms. Newton.
Okay.
So, but we can definitely circle
You should
back.
have shared it because it was in your inbox.
I think it just brings up a larger conversation because we do have consultants and outside third-party entities engaging with your employees. And so want to make sure that there is a line of communication for them to be able to, because they're not going to go through the normal HR process if they're feeling like there's some sort of incivility or, offense that's taken place. So I just want to make sure that there's something in the contract or something, where the employee, the PVUSD employee has a way to advocate for themselves. Good points. Thank you.
Would anyone like to make a motion on this item?
I just have a comment real quick.
Trustee Dodge?
Dr. Contreras, I keep hearing the same thing over and over again, that we keep putting the feelings of these consultants over the people. And, whether it's an evaluation or some sort of, feedback, with our teachers or parents working with these consultants, we need some sort of feedback from these consultants. I know what you're trying to do, get these consultants, but you're trying to tell these people who don't live here, who are only here for a short time, you're trying to coach, lecture these teachers what to do and they leave. But our teachers live here. They're my constituents, they're my friends, and, we need some sort of feedback. How was your, feelings with these consultants? I think, I don't always agree with Trustee Medina, but he does have some points where we're not asking for any type of response, feedback, and, just give us something. This is where I was at Radcliffe, and this is who I met with. These are the teachers, and then get feedback from the teachers that I worked with this consultant this day, because otherwise we're just, thank you very, and so
Yeah, we do at the end of our PDs QR codes to get that. And at the smaller ends, our principals are always checking. On smaller ones where it wouldn't be, a 3-person, let's do a QR code. The principals are always checking in with how is that for you?
I think some sort of, direct communication with the teachers, because of course they're going to tell the principal, everything was great, because my job depends on it, and so I think some sort of, whether it's confidential or just something, but, doing these contracts and all these consultants are great, it rubs constituents in my area the wrong way too, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's important to me that our English learning students do well. It's important to our district that our English language learners do well. It's important to our communities, to the students' parents, and especially to those students. And I feel with the coaching that's happening and with some of the other new trainings and professional development that we brought in, we are seeing the dial move with our students, and that's critically important. I understand the comments about, we need to make sure we're getting some feedback, that we're getting our money's worth out of this, and teachers are feeling like what they're getting is useful to them in interacting with their students and helping their students. So I make a motion that we approve this contract with the stipulation that someone be identified who will interview or accept comment from our coaches who are receiving this coaching. And then that information in aggregate be fed back to us so we have an understanding what's happening. Is there a second to that motion? No, second.
I'll second your motion, but I also just had a quick comment on that. So one of the goals and guardrails that we have been working on, and I know that we're missing a couple of board members, was reading, math, career and college readiness, critical thinking, media literacy. These are the 4 goals that we're working on. And so one of the asks was that we give the resources to the district and the superintendent in order to meet the goals that we have set. I believe in accountability at every level. And I think that our students should be able to also give feedback on their lessons as well. So I do think that there should be a confidential way to give feedback for these professional developments to determine if it's professionally relevant and if the teachers feel like they got anything out of it. And I hear what you're saying about data. We also want data, but if you don't get teacher buy-in, I don't think we're going to move the needle. So I agree that I think that we need to have some sort of monitoring aspect. And I know you want a lot of information, but maybe we can find a central repository so that we're not getting inundated just with a lot of data, that we can be able to peruse it at our own will.
Night.
Trustee Flynn?
I don't know how to make a substitute motion, yes, because I do, okay, and because I do want this to pass. I feel like it's important, but I feel like what you've proposed is a little bit vague. I want something a little bit more solid, and so I'm kind of thinking that I would like to table this and move it to the next meeting, but with some clear actions around processes for engagement and interaction between PVUSD employees and the contracted person. And then I would like there to also be some sort of feedback, anonymous feedback evaluation that we can see. I recognize that second part might not happen right away till later, but the first part of having some sort of protocol around communication and like evaluation, yeah. In order to renew a contract, or if something comes out mid-contract, how to, I'm sorry, I'm losing my words, but is that, are you, I don't know how to solidify that.
Trustee Turley?
Let me just finish, let's just finish this thought. Can I sum it up in that your motion is to table this item until our August 26th meeting?
Yeah.
In the interim, you would like a protocol or plan for how feedback, anonymous feedback, will be gathered from our teachers who are coaching within this program. Is that?
Yes, as well as, I just want it to be, I want there to be an avenue for those who are working with a consultant to be able to advocate for themselves if they feel like they're having a communication gap or some sort of tension or, you know, anything like that.
Trustee Turley, can I ask for a point of clarification?
Trustee Navarro?
So my point of clarification is for the superintendent. Is this going to delay any work that's already set in motion? And that's the first part of my question. And the second part of my question is there a way that we can approve this and so that we're not delaying the work that we're doing, but at the next meeting, you bringing back a way that we going forward to be able to have our teachers and cabinet members and whoever's getting coaching be able to have a private way to give feedback in regards to the coaching?
Yes, this will delay work that we had anticipated because we have some professional learning that we were hoping to do for our reading intervention teachers with the help of Ms. Newton. So this would delay that work. And we can definitely come and bring back a tool
for the August 26th meeting. That hopefully would meet your needs.
Can I mention something?
Trustee
Yes, Misty. Yes. Also, I think one thing that we need to learn as a board is we need to hold items hostage until we get that deliverable from the superintendent. Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, like the SRO contract that was vaguely mentioned, we're probably not going to see that for another year because we didn't stipulate a date and we weren't specific on that. So if she really wants it, she'll come back with that contract with those evaluations and then we could approve it. If we just loosely approve it, she's probably not going to come back to us because history has already told us that she hasn't. So that's all I wanted to mention.
So Trustee Medina, I appreciate your comments, but my worry is that given the frequency of these meetings, that I don't want to actually delay work and education for our teachers. And I this 5-year plan of moving the needle for our reading scores, that I have much higher aspirations and I don't want to delay this work any further. I understand the accountability measures, and I believe that the direction of the board asking and putting in writing to bring back stipulations for how this is going to be going forward, to me, should be sufficient.
I think another thing to add, and maybe I'm wrong, we don't have a CBO to ask, but didn't we pay them out for this month already? The Newton person, or am I misreading that from the
warrants?
From the warrant report?
The work that I'm talking about is going forward.
No. Have we paid them already?
Ms. Newton has been paid for work that she's been doing.
Okay. For this specific contract, has she been paid even though we haven't approved it?
No, because she's been doing ongoing work for us. She's been working for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. I mean.
Okay.
Okay, there is a motion on the table.
I'll approve Joy's motion. Second.
That's a second. Okay. There's a motion and a second to approve tabling this item until August 26th with some stipulations that I think we got, and I don't need to repeat it right now.
You need to put
right?
it on the record. Yes, you do. You got to state it.
Okay. That the superintendent will come back at the August 26th meeting with a plan or protocol for how we will gather anonymous feedback from the teacher staff who are coaches at our sites who are interacting with this consultant. And that information, that plan will come to us in August 26th. And assuming we approve the plan, then at a future time, that feedback will come back to us. Did I capture that?
Yes. And can I also add an amendment that she not be paid until that comes back?
We can't
or not
really
start
we can't
any
really
services.
do amendment on an amendment. We have to finish this one before we move on. But I think we got that.
I agree with
so
that.
Motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 1, 2, 3, 4 in favor. And any opposed?
Can I seek clarification? Are we voting to table this?
Until August 26th.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. So no,
I'm sorry, what?
I don't want to table it. I want to, did it pass already? Because I have an amendment. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe if it didn't pass that we would be in any different position than we otherwise would be. So at least this gets it firmly on August 26th with a direction of what the board is looking for. My preference would have been, as I think I've stated, to approve it now, but I don't believe that there are votes for that.
Did you vote for it?
I did. Okay, motion carries 4-1-0-2. All right, we are done with deferred. Now we're moving to action items. 10.1, approve the appointment of certified SPED teachers on provisional internship permits. Report will be offered by Kit Bragg, Assistant Superintendent. You're up.
Thank you and good evening. We ask the board's approval for 10.1, the approval of appointed certificate SPED teachers on provisional internship permits. On the second page, you'll find that Miss Ariana Zambrano has been accepted to the Extensive Needs Support Program at California State University, Monterey. She needs more time to meet the requirements of the program to be eligible to be recommended for the intern credential with the CTC. She will be a great addition to the MSD team, and we hope for your approval. Secondarily, Miss Nancy Rubio is a former RCHS student who is returning back to the area and attending CSU Monterey. She needs time to meet the requirements of the program to be eligible to be recommended for the intern credential with the CTC. Ms. Rubio will be a great addition to the RCHS team and will inspire a new generation of students to become teachers in special education. And may I also add and thank the board for the MOUs that you approved in previous meetings, encouraging our special education teachers to come to the district. We seek your approval tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there public comments on this item? This is 10.1.
Mr. Denise.
Dang, Kit, you are tall, man. Picking up the microphone after you. I'm just like, okay, so I'm starting my time. You can where I started, that's fine. I'm not speaking in opposition to this at all. These folks who come to us on PIPs and provisional waivers are sort of exist in this world of purgatory where like a first year teacher would get a coach through the new teacher project to help them clear their credential. But since these people don't yet have a credential, they don't get that same level of new teacher project coaching support. So they can often kind of be cast to the side. There have been times in this district where they do get new teachers project support if we have it on their caseload. So I'd like you guys to ask Kit, will they be getting any support through a new teacher project mentor? And if not, in the past, we had a voluntary coaching MOU where a member can get paid to coach one of their peers and be a mentor. I'll be bringing that MOU back tomorrow as early as I can to see if we can get that agreed to. I also would like you to ask the question, can these people legally write IEPs? Because we've kind of gone in circles of this in the past where it's like they'll be asked to write IEPs if they don't push back. But then when they push back, they're told, well, you don't have a credential, so you can't write the IEP, but you can contribute to the goals. So I think it's important to identify, can these people write IEPs legally? And if not, what supports will be in place to write those IEPs? And then also, our definition of caseload in our contract, and we have caseload caps, is caseload is defined as the number of students for whom an employee provides a service to. We've had a dispute over caseload where the district contends it's only the students whose IEPs you case manage. So they could be seeing and providing services to more than what's on their caseload, which resulted in a grievance a couple years ago where we met in the middle and we got our special ed employees a case management prep period. The district has taken that case management prep period away. So if we want to support our special ed teachers, we need to give them the time and support to do their jobs so that they put down roots here.
You're going to set your time. You got to follow your own time. That was late.
Are there any other comment cards on this item? Are there any board comments on this item?
I think you heard the questions, right? From Brandon? Yeah. Okay, cool. You can go ahead and respond to those. Brandon, if you want to repeat.
I can talk to a couple over the top.
You got to give the question.
Yeah. These are board questions.
Okay. Will they get support through a mentor, and will that person be paid?
So to add some context to that, we work with the County Office of Education. They provide new teacher support. Yes, Brandon is accurate in the fact that typically that support only goes to fully credentialed candidates that are coming into our system. However, in the past, we've been able to work with the county, depending on our caseloads, to still be able to provide that support even if they're on provisional intern credentials. Mr. Saxton has a meeting with the county next week to review caseloads, to review onboarding, see where we are in that process. So I don't have a definitive answer for tonight specific to the county and the type of support that they provide. However, I would point to the fact that you did hear tonight, we've had incredible growth in our special education department. We have many more additional administrators, not only able to provide direct support, but also ensuring program specialists are best positioned, who are part of the bargaining unit, who are part of PVFT, to be providing direct support in the classroom for all of special education. In the absence of administration in previous years, that's been more challenging because we've not had the administrative support to make sure program specialists could stay in that space. Secondarily, I think he asked about case management. Case management can be done and provided by anybody on an intern credential. And so for the record, They are absolutely qualified under these credentials to provide case management support. Case management, period.
Okay, and that includes writing the IEP?
Correct. Yes, it does.
Okay.
And then lastly, there was a couple comments that I feel are in the space of negotiation, so I'm not going to speak to those.
Okay.
Any other board comments on this item? Okay, is there a motion to approve 10.1? I see a motion from trustee
I'd like
Dodge.
to make a motion to support agenda item 10.1.
Thank you. And is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5, 0, 0, 2. Motion carries.
Thank you for your support.
That moves us on to 10.2, approval of best value leaseback construction services agreement with Swinnerton Construction for the Pajaro Valley High School Performing Arts Center project. Report is offered by Sergio Ambriz, Director of Facilities and Construction.
Good evening, President Carter Turley, Superintendent Dara Contreras, and members of the board and cabinet. Under California Educational Code Section 17406, the district must use a comprehensive best value selection process for the leaseback contractor. On May 11, 2026 and May 18, 2026, the district publicly advertised the request for qualifications and COF proposals for the leaseback construction services for the Pajaro Valley High School Performing Arts Center. A mandatory pre-proposal conference, a job walk held on June 1st, 2026 at 10 a.m. A total of 12 contractors, general contractors attended to the mandatory job walk. Seal proposals were received by the district on July 14, 2026 at 2 p.m. 4 general contractors submitted statements of qualifications and COF proposals in responses to the solicitation. The district evaluation committee reviewed each submission for responsiveness, qualifications, relevant project experience, technical expertise, financial capacity, safety records, past performance, and compliance with the requirements of the request for qualifications. Following the evaluation process, all 4 firms were determined to be qualified to perform the work. The COF proposals were then opened and evaluated in accordance with the district leaseback procurement process. Based on the qualifications review, the evaluation of the fee proposals, district staff determined that Swinnerton provided the best overall value to the district. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approves the award of the leaseback construction services agreement to Swinnerton for the Pajaro Valley High School Performing Arts Center project in the amount of $3,191,060. The agreement includes pre-construction services, consists of constructability review, cost estimates and value engineering, project schedules, logistic planning according with the design team, and development of the guarantee maximum price, which is called GMP, for the board consideration at a future meeting. Staff further recommends that the board authorizes the superintendent to execute the leaseback agreement and all related documents necessary to implement the project subject to legal review and approval, and to take all actions necessary to carry out the intent of approval. Recommended action tonight, it is recommended that the Board of Trustees approves the award of the leaseback construction services agreement to Swinnerton Construction for the Pajaro Valley High School Performing Arts Center.
Are there any public comments on this item? This is 10.2. Are there any board comments on this item? Trustee Dodge?
Well, first of all, I would just like to thank the voters who supported Measure M. Even though I do not represent PV High School, I just want to, there was a lot of people who didn't want to support this measure. They were concerned because previous projects took a long time, and the people of the Pajaro Valley were hesitant to support this. And I received a lot of feedback from people who didn't want to support this, and they said, PV, I will only support this if PV High School is a priority. And so I just like to thank the business owners, the taxpayers all across, Pajaro Valley Unified School District, Monterey County, Santa Cruz County, and I'm not sure, San Benito County. thank you for the trustees who, supported this at the very beginning. A lot of you had a lot to do with this measure being passed and this Performing Arts Center. Thank you, Sergio, for making this happen. Just one question that I have was, do we have any union work being planned? Do we have, any local union operators who want to be part of this, or were they invited?
Perfect. So I'll let, if you want me, I could bring the contractor so she could give you the good news.
I think that'd be great.
You are also tall. Hi, Emily Satuda, project executive with Swinnerton. So yes, we are a union self-performed general contractor. So all of the trades that we self-perform, of course, they will be, competitively bid out. We are signatory to carpenters, laborers, door frames, hardware, millwork. And in our solicitation process, we can also, advertise out for union contractors. We've worked with county building trades councils in PLA agreements, so we're very familiar with that process, as well as local contractors. So we have a presence both in Santa Clara and Salinas. So, working with local trades, it's important that we engage the community, provide those opportunities. Our team that is going to staff this project is located in, our chief estimator is actually from Watsonville, went to Watsonville High, which is great. And then our pre-construction manager is in Monterey. So that is very important to us that we're engaging those local trades as well.
Yes, local jobs, staying local with local dollars, so thank you.
Any other trustee Medina?
Yeah, so I have more questions. Thank you. Sorry. So that would, in Salinas, that would be the Monterey Bay Central Labor Union, correct? Okay, Carpenters Union, all those great people. Cool. All right, I was endorsed by them, so I want to make sure that, they're getting their flowers. Also, and just that we're, a lot of our parents have to go outside who work in construction. By the time they get back home, it's just so late, and this provides them the opportunity to stay local if they can, which I really appreciate. So what was I going to say? So I just wanted to get those two things down. And then also, maybe this is more for the labor unions than anything, but is there any opportunities for students who actually want to go into construction where there could be some sort of internship that they could participate in building this? Because I think that would be cool if they're helping to also, CTE or anything to that extent. I'm just curious.
Absolutely. So a couple of things. First and foremost, student safety is our priority. So in the course of construction, we always maintain separation of field activities with students. That being said, we can work with the trustees, superintendent, everyone, Sergio's team, to provide kind of learning as a teaching tool. A story I do like to tell is one of our very prominent superintendents currently was a high school student when we were doing a project at her school. So we can provide those opportunities for students to supervised, right? Not part of daily course of construction. Those opportunities, we absolutely provide some learning opportunities, internships if need be.
Sweet, yeah. I want them to get their hands dirty because it feels good building something. And if they could, contribute in that way, I think that would be great. So I would like to move to approve.
We do have we could take a second and then finish deliberation, but we do have a comment from Trustee Navarro.
I just want to say that this part of the Measure M funding is actually one of my favorite things to come out of it. And I know that PV High has felt neglected for a really long time, and I hope that this shows the investment and the priority that we're putting on that institution. The fact that they're going to have a performing arts center where the community can gather, this potentially could generate revenue for our district going forward for other entities that want to use it. And I'd like to see them get a pool. So my question is, when do you put the first brick in the ground? When is it starting?
So that's a good question. I think right now when we bring the contractor on board, we have to go through the schematic design, NDD design, the design of the project. From there is we both get engineer estimates. So the contractor gets an engineer estimate, the contractor gets one, and the district gets one. And then from there, we generate the guarantee maximum price. Will we hold the contractor to that amount?
Is there any opportunities for if you get it done this many months sooner, we give you a bonus?
So I think we are going to hold them to that schedule of the 2028 in summer. So they do have a hard timeline. So that's why we picked Swingerton. Just to give them a little bit of background is, in 2025, Swingerton completed Compton High, and at the same time completed Estancia High School, in both of them on a leasebacks. And then from there in 2024, the actual completed Milpitas High School, where we actually went on Friday to look at the Performing Arts Center, and it was amazing.
I can't wait.
Trustee Flynn?
Over the course of the last few hours, just today, I've learned so much about project management. I've talked to so many people, constituency, professionals, city council members. So I just want to say thank you to all of them, if you're listening, for all your feedback in regarding to what a leaseback program is versus a PLA, and then really making sure that we are using local labor and following those kind of protocols. I'm looking for the messages that I got, but I'm glad to know that a lot of your, what is it, 60 to 80% of your labor will come from local workers. 60% of the skilled journey persons. The question that I wanted to ask you is, when I first came on, there was the stadium bleachers at Watsonville High, which impeded, which made it inaccessible to athletes for track and some other sports. So I'm curious if there is written in any sort of MOU ahead of time to make sure that doesn't happen, or that it's clearly stated ahead of time, because it was a surprise to those students back then. And I understand that maybe school site council made the decision, but probably may not have involved everybody, all the stakeholders. So I just want to make sure that just where the construction is happening, if that's going to block off. I know that there's a back entrance to the stadium and the track. So I'm just curious if that's been taken into consideration.
So that is part of with our next steps. We have to come in with the schedule on when they come in with deliveries, when they have the procurements of construction, where's the staging, and from there is we'll create everything and we'll go and take it to the principal, make sure that that's in conflict with activities of the school, and we'll make sure that we work around all of that.
I just really want to prioritize. I know that safety is the first priority, so all of those things, making sure they're not happening near or around students. But I want to make sure that the students' access to their facilities is prioritized so that they're not missing out on opportunities that they would like to, especially practices, especially for seniors who are getting, it's might be their last year doing a particular sport, whether it be lacrosse or track and field or soccer, things like that.
Yeah, and the good thing is we're not going anything close to the field. Everything's going to stay up in the front of PV High School. There's a center of area. I think it's about like 2 acres where they could actually stage and everything without involving any of the school.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think that
second
Oh,
the
okay.
motion,
So there's a
but-
first and a second, but I have a little bit of a comment. I really appreciate your utilization of women in non-traditional roles. Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Motion carries 5-0-0-2.
One really quick point, Sergio. I know there's only one way to get in and out of the school, so are you going to come back to us with a plan, like kind of how that's going to be coordinated? Okay, cool, because I just thought about that right now. I'm like, whoa, if they're doing construction during the day, how are teachers going to park? How's that going to work out? So that will come back to us. Perfect, thank you.
All right, thank you. That moves us on to 10.3, approved name recommendation from Cesar Chavez Middle School renaming committee. Report is offered by Alejandro Chavez.
Good evening, Board of Education, Board of Trustees, and cabinet members, as well as the audience here with us. Initially, the middle school renaming committee was going to be headed by our CBO, but he had so much on his plate with the SSA and just a number of things that I took on this particular item to make sure that we were able to move this forward in a timely manner, because we were receiving some questions from the community, and we were getting some questions from throughout, and so we wanted to move this forward. What I'll say in regards to the thank you. We can move on to the next one. And the next one. Okay. So the purpose of the renaming committee was to present recommendations regarding the district's middle school renaming after a comprehensive process of soliciting, reviewing, evaluating, and deliberating names. And so just to inform the public as well as the board is that the process that was followed was grounded in Board Policy 7310 and Administrative Regulation 7310. We followed and reviewed the deliberation process through a committee that was formed, and I'll share with you what the process was. So we had a composition of a committee that was structured that included 2 parents, 2 students, 3 staff members, including the site administrator as the chair, and 2 community members. The recruitment and the lottery that occurred from the formation of the committee, which was on April 15th of 2026. The district launched a comprehensive recruitment campaign on April 23rd, and that remained open until May 8th of 2026. We followed that up with and conducted a random lottery of the folks that did apply for this position, for these positions in the committee, and that occurred on May 11th at CCMS. We had this formation of this committee, as I said, the recruitment process of how they were done. We did from April 23rd through May 8th. That's when that process occurred. We had our first meeting on May 18th and began and what we did is we did an orientation, we established our norms, and we began a roadmap setting. We started on May 19th, a public name solicitation window, and that closed on June 2nd. We held a total of 4 meetings, and during that process, we received the different names. During that time period on the community outreach and the name solicitation, we had a total of 30,000 plus website views, social media announcements, and multiple district-wide Parent Square broadcasts that were sent out to parents. During that time, we also had site-specific messages, including in our Friday messages, as well as with parent groups, as well as with our ASB meeting that happened there on campus with the students themselves. We had a total of 5 name proposals that came forward, and that was Central Coast Middle School, Jeff Tagami Middle School, Alberto M. Rojas Middle School, Watsonville Middle School, and Mas Hashimoto Middle School. The committee during those 4 meetings looked at community connection, the reflection of local history, Pajaro Valley identity. They looked at alignment with academic missions, inspirational value for students. They also looked at fiscal practical feasibility. And so in looking at all of those considerations and the submissions that were brought forth, the committee consolidated the legacies of Jeff Tagami and Mas Hashimoto into one single joint proposal, recognizing their shared impact on local education. The final recommendations that came forward from this committee were Central Coast Middle School, but they did not want to just have one recommendation for the board, so they decided they wanted to do 2. And the second recommendation they had was a combination of the 2 names, which was the Tagami Hashimoto Middle School. In the vote for these 2, they had a unanimous vote of 9-0 on Central Coast Middle School. That included the parents, the community members, and the students. And on the Tagami Hashimoto Middle School, there was an 8-0, 1 abstention in that. And so in conclusion of this presentation, those were the choices that they moved forward, and they wanted this to be brought forth to the Board of Education, the Board of Trustees, to make the final decision on this.
Thank you. Are there any public comment cards on this item? All right, are there any board comments on this item?
Yes.
I keep looking that direction. I'm going to start this way. No, okay. Oh, I don't know who had theirs up first. Trustee Flynn?
We had this as a discussion item a few months ago, and we discussed it so much that I thought we had voted on it. And I thought we had come to a clear decision, and I didn't realize that that we hadn't voted on it, and I kept getting people asking me, what are you doing? And I was like, wait a second, I thought we, but so the most recent constituent comment that I received was, and I don't remember talking about it, was how was the family involved, and you know, were they made aware of this? Because I don't know which family it was, but one of them does not want to be, okay, yeah, does not want to be. So I think that needs to be honored. But it's interesting because I remember during public comment, one of the things, not public comment, I'm sorry, during our discussion, with us looking at school closures, we didn't want to put a name on somebody and have a lot of pomp and circumstance and then have the school close. That would be super disrespectful. So, yeah, I am happy to make a motion, but I know you have some comments, so I will move on from there.
Trustee Medina?
All right. So I want to thank the renaming committee, and I want to speak directly to the letter this board received today from Jeff Tagami's widows and sons, and to the families who wrote honoring Mas Hashimoto. At its heart, this moment is about visibility. I think that's why we have the name Tagashi Hashimoto, because there is a lack of visibility for this community. So I see why they were pushing for that name recognition, because if you look at Watsonville, there's clearly one dominant culture that you could see on all of our murals and all of our walls. And I think this is the AAPI community reaching out and saying like, hey, we were here too and we were part of that history. So I want to recognize that. And, you know, at its heart, this moment is about visibility. We live in a proudly Latino community, and we can see ourselves here in our murals, our music, our celebrations, our fields. But the Pajaro Valley was also built by Asian American and Pacific Islander families who farmed this land, faced exclusion and incarceration, and came back anyway to teach, to write, and to lead. The Tagami family's letter asks us a question tonight, which I think is really important. Who is Jeff Tagami? And what value is a poet? And here is my answer. Jeff Tagami was a Watsonville native son who carried the apple orchards, the canneries, the lumber yard, and the small wishes of children living near the Pajaro River into American literature, one of 50 poets in a national PBS documentary filmed here in our valley. And Mas Hashimoto taught generations of Watsonville students the history his own family lived, including the incarceration of Japanese Americans. names so that would never be forgotten or repeated. And unfortunately, we're seeing that happen today with our community. Can our students see that history on their campus today? And I don't believe that they are. And I believe that we owe it to this community in order to represent them. I have also become aware that the Hashimoto family's own wishes could not favor placing the name of the school, and honoring someone starts with honoring their family wishes. The Tagami's family letter also cautions us that a committee's first recommendation, Central Coast Middle School, the Tagami's letter also cautions us that a plaque on a wall is not a legacy, and I agree with that. So tonight, I will support the committee's recommendation for the Central Coast Middle School, and I would like to add an additional stipulation that we direct staff to work in partnership with the Tagami family, the Hashimoto family, and the Hashimoto family, the school community, and the families who wrote to us to create a permanent, sustainable public artwork and curriculum connection at the school that tells the story of the AAPI community in the Pajaro Valley, what they contributed, the challenges they faced, and the resilient leaders who emerged despite adversity, including Jeff Tagami and Mas Hashimoto. But a visual story every student to walk past, learns from, and carries. So visibility is what our community asks for, and I really want us to deliver on that. So that would be my amendment to move forward with Central Coast Middle School, form a committee with these families, and let's get a mural going so people could understand the great work that these two men did for our district. So that would be my recommendation.
Clarifying question. So would you envision this on that campus or somewhere in the community? Is that site specific?
I think since it was for this campus, and it is the Central Coast Middle School, so I think it would fit naturally within the campus. It could show the history of the Central Coast, which started with the Chinese, right, who are coming in and building the railroad, and then it evolved over time, and I think it's important to see that. So if we're gonna name the school Central Coast, let's show the history of the Central Coast by highlighting these prominent communities.
Thank you. Are there other trustees? Trustee Dodge Jr.?
This is just new information. Can it be confirmed? Marcio Hashimoto said any of this? Is this true?
I can tell you, however many years ago, when Pajaro Valley High School was being built, Mas Hashimoto advocated for calling it Freedom High School, and he made statements that he did not think buildings should be named after people. So I was really surprised when I saw that there was a recommendation to name something after him, when I had, with my own ears, heard him say he did not think that was an appropriate thing. I also had the question, was Mrs. Hashimoto consulted?
Do you have a response?
So the name came from a community member, and that community member also was part of the renaming committee. During the process, they decided to move forward with that name. Even we had gotten some information during that process that there was some feedback that they may not want to move forward, that the family may not want to move forward with the Hashimoto name. However, the committee was very adamant that they wanted to move forward with combining those two names because they were very, they really felt that there needed to be something named after two Asian American Island Pacific members of our community that were educators, both poet at Cabrillo College, that taught at Cabrillo College, as well as Mas Hashimoto, who had taught for so long at Watsonville High.
But I didn't hear anybody say that Marcia had said she wasn't in support, but she hadn't been asked specifically that.
So the community member came back, but we didn't get anything in writing. We didn't get anything like that, but that's the information that we got back.
Thank you. Trustee Navarro?
So so we don't get completely off here, for the most part, I think the committee overwhelmingly supported Central Coast Middle School, and I think the reason for that is because the mural wouldn't have to change, the rebranding wouldn't have to happen. It's the much cheaper option. I responded to a lot of the emails. I was actually surprised at the outpouring, and I responded to all of the individual emails. think there's other ways that we can honor these members of our community. Whether it is a mural, you're right, there's a lot of murals dedicated to the Latino community, but not the other communities that were here and that toil in our fields. So I support going forth with another way to honor these individuals. But just so we can be clear, I think that Central Coast Middle School, CCMS, keeping the name and the acronym the same is the community's desire going forward and the financially sound one.
Thank you. Trustee Flynn? Oh, I'm sorry. Actually, I had, did you already? I think I had already said I was.
Is there currently a motion on the floor? Okay, thank you.
I agree with making sure that these men are remembered, and especially learning about even just Watsonville and history. It would be a great addition to the Fields framework in the ethnic studies. So that's where I feel like this should go.
So I like Trustee Medina's idea, but I'm fearful that that school may not exist after 2 years. I'm not saying that that's happening. I'm just saying it's a possibility. So I would suggest that it be a committee that evaluates appropriate locations and not tie it just to that site. Yeah, all right, okay. Would anybody like to make a motion on?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'm sorry, there's still another comment. I'm sorry, I missed. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to make a motion.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I heard it start over there first, so.
I'll make a motion to approve the renaming
to
the Central Coast Middle School.
And is there a second?
Can we amend that to include the search to?
You can amend that motion if that's what you'd like
Yeah.
to do.
Okay, yeah, I like everything, I just want to amend that we form a committee to see how we could build or where we could create a mural for the AAPI community.
Okay. I heard an amended motion. Is there a second to that?
I'll second that amendment.
Okay, there is a first and a second on the motion to approve Central Coast.
I just have a
Okay, let me finish stating the motion and then we can still have deliberation over the motion. So the motion is to approve naming it Central Coast Middle School and to create a committee to identify a location on district property for a mural that represents the community.
I just would like to move location to locations to make it plural. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Dodge Deer.
There was some new information that might not be true, but I already committed to the name to many of my constituents to the Mas Hashimoto Jeff Tagami Middle School. The names we place in our school should tell the story of our community, inspire every student who walks through those doors. I can think of no one better names than Mas Hashimoto and Jeff Tagami. Mas Hashimoto embodied service, resilience, and the pursuit of education. He was a Watsonville High School Wildcat, a scholar, a United States veteran, a Watsonville High School teacher, and an activist who dedicated his life to preserving our local history. Mas's story is also one of the darkest chapters in our nation's history. During World War II, simply because he was Japanese American, Mas and his family, along with hundreds of other Japanese American families from Watsonville, were forced from this very community. They lost their homes, their farms, and their businesses. They were first taken to the Salinas Fairgrounds before being sent to Boston incarceration camp in Arizona. Yet even after experiencing that injustice, Mas chose to serve the very country that had taken away his freedom. He enlisted in the United States Army to prove that he was just as American as anyone else. After the war, he returned home, became an educator, taught generations of students at Watsonville High School, and devoted his life to ensuring future generations will never forget the lessons of this history. Alongside him, Jeff Tagami, also a proud Watsonville High School Wildcat, dedicated his life to preserving another important chapter of Watsonville history. There was poetry and writing. He had taught us about the anti-Filipino riots that scarred our community and the tragic murder of Fermin Tabera, who was killed just outside Watsonville simply because he was Filipino. Jeff Tagami's work reminds us that these stories are not meant to divide us. They're meant to educate us, challenge us, and ensure that the hatred and discrimination are never repeated. Together, Mas and Jeff Tagami represent strength, resilience, diversity, and compassion that define Watsonville. Their lives remind us that education is more about than academics. It is about understanding our history, learning from it, and building a better future. I support naming this school after Mas and Jeff because they were both proud Watsonville High School Wildcats. I'm also a proud Watsonville High School Wildcat. As fellow Wildcats, I believe it is my responsibility to help ensure their legacies endure for generations to come. Every student who walks through the doors of this school will say their names and ask, who are Mas and Jeff Tagami? That question will open the door to learning about courage, resilience, service culture, and the rich community of our community. I see there's a motion on the floor, but I respectfully ask my fellow trustees support naming this school to the Mas Hashimoto Jeff Tagami Middle School. It is a name that honors our past, reflects the values of our community, ensures that the legacy of 3 Watsonville High School Wildcats, Mas Hashimoto, Jeff Tagami, and every student they inspire will live on generations to come. Thank you. And that being said, I will not be supporting the motion that's on the floor.
Okay, did you want to amend the motion, that motion that's on the floor?
We have a motion on the floor.
Okay. We have a first and a second on a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those opposed? Motion carries 4-1-0-2.
And can I make a quick comment? I was where you were at until I got that letter. And somebody who's really close to the Hashimoto's contacted me and said like, hey, this is what the family's thinking. Because I wanted that name in gold letters on that school, believe me. But, I tried to find a middle ground, and I think visibility with a mural is going to really do some justice for the history that we don't always see around. So
I understand. It was just the first time I heard it. And,
yeah.
So,
I'd also like to make a comment, even though we're beyond where we should be commenting on this, but you did, so I will. I don't know if you're aware, but there is a small monument on the Watsonville High School property next to a cherry tree. Okay. I appreciate stumbling on that. Okay, that finishes all of the action items. Now we are on 11.1, update Watsonville High School field facility naming. Hedgepeth Board Policy 7310A. The report is provided by Assistant Superintendent Michael Berman. And I would like to remind the public we're not voting on this item. This is a first read. It'll come back August 26th.
Good evening, President Turley, members of the board, and Dr. Contreras. As you know, it's a busy time of the year at our schools and for our principals who are hustling to get their sites ready for day one. And because of that, Principal Gregorio is not able to join us tonight. Therefore, it is my pleasure to bring forward this item for report and discussion. But even though he's not here with us tonight, he did prepare a presentation and a show for us to enjoy. We'll take notes later.
On behalf of the students, staff, alumni, and community of Watsonville High School, I am proud to present a proposal that connects 2 eras of Wildcat athletics. Following a comprehensive process, the Watsonville High School community unanimously recommends formally adding the name of Coach Hedgepeth to our football field. And it would be Geyser Field at Hedgepeth Stadium, connecting the 2 names, adding Coach Hedgepeth to Geyser Field. The proposal comes to you with complete consensus across every level of our school governance and community leadership. Over the course of nearly 2 years, our committee process thoroughly vetted and endorsed this designation. On September 8, 2024, it was formally recommended by our Watsonville High School Booster Club. On November 7th, 2024, it was approved by our school site council and ELAC. On November 12th, 2024, it was vetted by our school administration here at Watsonville High. On November 15th, 2024, it was discussed and supported by Watsonville High School staff. On December 7th, 2024, it was unanimously endorsed by Watsonville High School cabinet. And lastly, on April 29th, 2026, it was finalized with public support at a Watsonville High School community town hall meeting here at Watsonville High. Every group has reached the same conclusion. This name honors a living legend in Coach Hedgepeth while preserving the legacy of our former athletic director, Emmett Geiser. There's history behind this recommendation that is a full circle Watsonville story. In 1959, as a senior, Coach Roland Hedgepeth asked then athletic director Emmett Geiser if students could start a soccer team. The answer was no. Coach Hedgepeth and his peers played anyways, forming an unsanctioned team. After the local news covered their 5th game, the vice principal called Coach Hedgepeth into his office as a student and shut down the program. 12 years later, in 1971, Watsonville High School needed a soccer coach. They had started a program. That same vice principal called Coach Hedgepeth, who was then teaching at Minty White Elementary, and asked, "Remember when I told you to stop playing soccer? I'm calling you now to see if you'd like to be our soccer coach." That phone call turned into a 54 coaching year career, including 37 years at the varsity level of coaching for soccer, 28 years of coaching high school football, alongside 36 years as a dedicated PVUSD educator. Coach Hedgepeth's resume stands among the greatest in California history. He has over 722 wins, 126 losses, and 116 ties, 37 league titles, 13 CCS titles, the #1 ranking in 2001 in the United States for soccer, California Open Division runner-up in 2022, and in 2025, NorCal champion and state runner-up. He took his teams to Hawaii 6 times, Florida twice, Europe twice, leveraging his relationships in the community. So tournament hosts covered the costs, ensuring no student had to fundraise more than $100 each to be able to travel to these tournaments. Yet Coach Hedgepeth's primary focus has always been life after high school. Over 70% of student athletes have gone on to graduate from college. He holds strict academic standards, partners closely with classroom teachers, and has built a coaching tree composed mostly of former players who have returned to Watsonville to mentor the next generation of students. In true Coach Hedgepeth fashion, he agreed to accept this honor only on the condition that it is recognized by the entire community joining him with it, especially the local coaches who prepare Watsonville High School athletes. Combining these two names creates a complete historical circle here at Watsonville High School. Coach Emmett Geiser, who established the early foundation here at Watsonville High, now connected, and Coach Hedgepeth's name being added to the name of the football field / soccer field here at Watsonville High. We respectfully ask the Board of Trustees to approve this addition to Geiser Field to be named now Geiser Field at Hedgepeth Stadium. Thank you for your time and your leadership, your continued commitment to Watsonville High School, and remember, once a Wildcat, always a Wildcat. Thank you.
Does that count? And I just want to add that I was at the stadium when the team got their last home win of the season, and I was so touched, Coach, by the way that your players embraced you, and that the way that the families and the stands showed you love, and I just want to tie it all in that you've always been here for students. You're all about the students. And you've earned their love and respect because you're there for him. So I just want to give you my gratitude, and with that, pass it on to you all.
Thank you.
Trustee Turley.
Trustee Medina.
I would like to motion to suspend the rules so we could have the coach come up and say any comments if he would like.
So suspending the rules requires a 2/3 vote. If at least 4 of us, 2/3 are present, if at least 4 of us make that motion, I believe we can suspend that.
I didn't know it was that. I thought it was just as long as you get a second.
I will.
Oh, yeah, all of us gotta get it, huh?
I will
Yeah.
second.
Okay, cool.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Okay.
That
Aye.
looks like 5. That would be 100% of those who are
Would be
present.
100.
Okay, thank you, board, for everything in this community. I wasn't really prepared to say anything, but I'm honored, but and more than that, I'm honored for all these past players I've had over the years. They've always been respectful to me. You know, all the players come to me before practice and say, "How are you, coach?" And after practice, they come and say, "I'll see you next time. I'll see you next practice." And not that I needed it, but I really feel that they needed it, you know, to show appreciation for something that they do get. You know, over the years, I always, like he said, I always, you know, education is first. I had 3 or 4 priorities. Education first, your family first. Whatever happens there, you need to take care of. Your education second, maybe soccer third, and girlfriends last. No, didn't always work, but that's what. But anyway, I really appreciate this honor, but as I say, I'm only accepting it on the behalf of the community, my ex-players, my ex-coaches, and thank you very much. That's all.
Do any board members have comments on this? Trustee Flynn.
I don't want to belabor this, so I will just go right ahead and make the motion to approve.
It's report and discussion.
is
Yeah, I
it,
know.
yeah.
We should have moved it to action. Like,
Can we move it to action?
The
Okay,
process
so-
really is that we hear things like this and then we hold to the next meeting for the final approval.
It's one of those things that's just so easy. You know, I am a proud, longtime Corralitos resident. I grew up on Amesti Road. I've worked with your wife on, as I was home and school club president at Bradley. So I've done many events at the Padres Hall, so I know the work that she does there and that you do there with Padres. And so I have never had a chance to meet you personally, maybe in passing, but just having that connection to Watsonville. I just found out that I get to call myself a Wildcat, even though I just went to summer school there. And then I'm a Mariner too, because I went to summer school there. And Mr. Hubbard was my math teacher both times. So I feel really deeply rooted and connected to this community. My mother is a founder of St. Francis High School. My aunt helped to found Central California Alliance for Health, something that serves a lot of our community members. And part of what you do is so impressive. It gives people a through line and seeing where they can, they have somebody who believes in them and knows what they're capable of. And that's what I feel like we're doing with the board. So I'm honored to be here on this day, to be able to not only just because I will be voting yes when it comes forward, but then to be able to go to the stands and say I was there and I helped bring this to pass. But really, years and years of what you've done for this community really speaks to who we are. And we talk about vision and values, and I think you embody it. So thank you.
Any other trustees, comments? Dodge Jr.?
Well, Coach, I get to see you again. I just wanted to publicly say that I didn't know much about soccer. I was a freshman in 1996, and I graduated in 2000. And I went to high school with Roy Contreras, Ulises Baltazar, Alejandro, all those guys. And so that's when I first met you, and I didn't know how much you would impact generations of students. Just this last year, I was able to attend the games with you and to see, I guess magic you do with these students, these kids, to take, students from Watsonville and beat the best, to beat the best, to beat the private schools, to beat, San Jose and go all the way to Sacramento across the United States. That's magic. We don't always have the best equipment, the best gear, the best transportation, but you make us believe that we can be anybody, anywhere. So I just want to acknowledge you here at this board meeting, and I think you still got one more season left. Thank you. Thanks, Coach. I'll see you.
Okay, I'll make mine quick. I went to UCLA, so John Wooden was huge when we were over there. And one of the quotes that always stuck to me is, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And he was one of those once-in-a-lifetime generational coaches that really came in and had an impact on the community that he was bringing in, especially young black men who were really not allowed into these spaces at one point. But he motivated them and created that work for them to really achieve, some really great wins. So I feel like you are your own person, but you're the John Wooden of Watsonville in what you have done in establishing, not only these skills in sports, but how to say, how are you doing today? How to show up on time, right? And those are useful life skills. And that's why I really appreciate them wanting to honor you, because, teachers don't always hear it. But later on in life, you always gonna have that one student who said, it was because of that person that I did well. And I think a lot of students could say that for you, Coach. So I just want to say thank you for your time. I hope he has 3 more seasons if you can, all right? When one of your students get into the FIFA World Cup, let me know. I'll be right there with you, okay? All right, thanks.
Unless there's a replacement for FIFA by then. Any other comments? Okay.
Well, I wish I knew you better, Coach. I tend to be the only one that doesn't have a personal relationship with you. But I will tell you that I know that the most valuable people in my life and the people who have changed my life are the ones that asked me to be better. So thank you for doing that for our students.
I wasn't going to comment just because everybody said such eloquent things, but I have a connection too. Roland and my father, Owen, were friends. They taught together, and they went on one crazy backpack trip where Roland brought a couple of his students who I guess he thought could benefit from this, from that kind of experience. They were backpacking out of Sequoia. One of the students had an extra tent, and my father, who had worked there as a teenager, was certain he could just sleep out as he always had. And it poured down rain, and he sure was glad that your student brought an extra tent. But that's just Roland doing great things for young people and in lots of avenues that we're unaware of. But thank you very much for your service to this community. Okay. That moves us to 11.2, which is recess to reset the room. Well, Yeah, so that's the question we have. I sort of had the two of you don't plan on participating, is that correct? Okay, not a judgment, I'm just asking so I know what to say next.
No, I'm not participating.
Okay. We can, it won't be an official meeting, it'll just be 3 board members who are working on something. If we send a Zoom link to our coach, he will Zoom in so that he can help us through the next couple of things.
Yeah, if we flip agenda setting, I could stay for that. But
We have to do the
I gotta
policy
do
part
policy
first.
first.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you figure out how to get a link to him so he and Ashley can join the meeting and be able to?
Yeah, it's just like I could save money by going and releasing the nurse, so I don't have to pay them. And take care of my aunt. So
Yeah. That's the discussion. Well, you know, it's 9:35. We kind of said we were wanting to end by 10:30. That's 50 minutes by the time we set the room, maybe less than that. So of the 3 of us who would be here, even though it's not a technical board meeting, we can still work through it. We can still have our coaches come through. What are the wishes of trustees Flynn and trustee Navarro? Maybe we could, yes.
I feel like we need to have more input and people here. Yeah, because I don't want to make a policy or like, I know it's report and discussion, but I don't want to spend time putting something into something when we have other people to be able to give input and have it be completely changed. That's just my thoughts and opinions, but everybody has one of those.
And I think I heard you say you were kind of.
I would just like to say my thoughts and opinions on this is that this is actually the most important thing that this board should be doing.
I don't disagree with that.
And I'm disappointed in the members of this board that do not want to participate in this process. Because it is absolutely.
Let's not start shaming people.
No, this is the most important thing that we are doing as a board, is trying to come up with these goals and guardrails. And we are way behind schedule because we don't have the people to get the work done. So I would really encourage both of you to please stay and participate in the most important work that we're doing as a board.
I have made it very clear that I'm going to wait for the next board to come in so we could adopt these goals and guardrails, and I would prefer to work with that board in getting this done, because you all are working off of some form of baseline. You guys are going to be gone in a few months, so I would prefer to do that work with the board. And also, this didn't start off as a very comfortable or open space, which is why I dismissed myself from it, because of the environment that was being created there. So I'm not going to put myself into that position again. That is why I'm going to wait for new people to come in.
So Trustee Turley, just a point of clarification, these goals and guardrails, regardless of the elections, will be the goals and guardrails going forward, correct?
A new board can change direction. Hopefully they would go through a thoughtful process. And
hopefully they believe that improving our reading and math scores are probably the most important thing that we
And saving money and not paying high-priced consultants. So we could go all around about this.
Okay, let's get back to the question at hand. Yes, Trustee.
So I knew that we would have a couple of our trustees leaving at 11.5. I knew that. But 11.3 and 11.4, I thought that we would have, because I don't think that the argument is that it's not important. Which one is it? Sorry, the policy leadership. And then the board agenda setting. I don't think anybody's arguing that that's not important. Yeah. So it's a 10-minute report, a 10-minute discussion. We can't go anywhere with it, 10 minutes. We can't go anywhere with it. So I'm wondering.
One interruption to that.
Yeah.
So it's more likely 30 minutes in Greg's leadership in this, not 10 minutes. So let's just be upfront and realistic about the time.
That's why I used air quotes. Okay, so I feel like we have to do the policy leadership first to be able to support the next agenda item, which is 11.4. So it would be great if both of you could stay and give your input for that. I understand that 11.5 was already a no. So,
I've always made it clear, I don't agree with any of this stuff. I know I'm one of the only who hired a superintendent, and when I made my vote for the superintendent, it's because I believed in what your vision is. And in going over this over and over again, I just feel it's disrespectful towards you, because whether you're the superintendent, this year, next year, and if this board decides to hire a different superintendent, we have to believe in that vision, whether I agree with it or not. But, when I put my vote for you, it's because I believed in your vision. And then putting these guardrails, to me, it's sabotaging me. And so that's why I totally disagree with this. And if we have someone else, then I might disagree with their vision, but that's what the will of the board is. And so
I respectfully disagree. It is not about the vision of the superintendent. She may have a vision, but the vision must come from the community, not from the superintendent. They do not set the vision. They absolutely do not set the vision, because the superintendent and a board comes and goes. The community is what stays, and the community is supposed to be directing the board, and then the board directs the superintendent. And that's how it goes. So she absolutely, as our employee, needs goals and guardrails. And then she is responsible for making sure that those action items and those goals are met. But we spent a lot of time reaching out to community, and I'm not going to just let that go to the wayside. And I totally disagree with the fact that any employee needs goals and guardrails. Rules are helpful because it actually takes some pressure off of her, because then she gets to point back to, I'm doing what you asked me to do, and then the community can then hold us accountable.
Exactly my point, and that's what elections are for.
And if I could just add, you all have the power to actually check and put guardrails by your vote. You haven't done that. You've let the superintendent get away with so many things, right? You keep voting for what she puts in front of us. We are the guardrail, and we have not been enforcing that. So I'm not going to sit through with people who can't even execute their own right of what their constituents are saying. Because you're saying it's about community and listening to community. They come here and tell you how to vote, but you vote against them. So how is that listening to them? So, and I don't want to get into an argument about this, but again, the board majority has made it clear that you are going to approve anything that the superintendent puts in front of us without any guardrails, when we are the OG guardrails that get elected by the people to put a check on the superintendent. And I hope we do get a new superintendent when the new board comes in. At least that's what I'm hearing from a lot of them, that we may need some big changes coming in. So that's why I don't want to move forward with this, because I want the new board to come in with fresh ideas, all elected, nobody's appointed, so they have some sort of stake in this. Because right now, 2 of you are unappointed, 1 of you has been elected, and you're driving this whole policy. We need people who have been on the ground, talked to people, got their endorsements, have the vote in, and were elected to be on this board in order to dictate the guardrails that we want to see from the superintendent. But you haven't shown that as the board majority. So that's why I don't feel this is going to be beneficial. I agree that she should have guardrails, but you all have left her off the rail.
That's what
So,
we're trying to do, is get these guardrails. And if
Do it with
if
your
my
vote, Joy.
constituency
Do it with
did
your
not
vote.
want me, and if they did not want trustee Navarro, they could have voted us out within a certain amount of time. So
But
we are here.
you were
And we
appointed.
were, that's what I'm saying. We were appointed, and they had a certain amount of time to revoke that appointment.
And that process is extremely, it's so off-putting that you can't do it, so you just have to sit with what you got. Okay. So
I'd like
that
to
being said,
interject,
I just want to finish because I went out into the community, into the constituency that I had to collect their voice. I focused on area 2. And I got that, and I'm not gonna just let that go to the wayside. They gave their time, they
Need to
gave
run for
their.
re-election.
I would like to point out.
I'm taking what they have now and using it.
So I think you're both talking about 11.5. We're still on 11.3 and 11.4, but it looks like Daniel dodged this one.
yeah, so I'm also, as I stated, that I'm going to be heading out, so you guys don't have quorum.
Okay. All right, so that gets it back to the 3 of us, and I think I heard from both of you that if it's only 3 of us, you feel like we need to wait until we can have trustees Carrasco and trustee Flores, so there are at least 5 of us participating. Is that the consensus?
I think that the team that started this work should be the one that continues it.
Okay, so I'm hoping that we put these 3 items back on the agenda for August 26th, and that we don't have a ton of other stuff that has to be on that will keep us from being done. 29. On the 19th of what? Ooh, we may already know that we don't have a quorum on September 16th. And, oh, you know what? We no longer have a quorum, so I'm going to officially close the meeting at 9:46. Thank you.